It's day 2 of the Ingles Big South Conference Tournament from beautiful Segra Stadium in downtown Fayetteville, North Carolina. Alongside Brantley Hatrich, I'm Chris Haymeyer. And as we look at this bracket, everything has been turned upside down. This is the 1-2 matchup many envisioned on day 2, just not at 11 a.m. in the losers bracket. The top seeds getting thumped in lopsided losses last night. Campbell was no hit into the 6th, no contest, a 7-2 loss against the 4th seed. And last night, USC Upstate's ace, the pitcher of the year, Jordan Marks, touched up for 6 runs, didn't make it to the 3rd inning. Surprises on day 1, Brantley.
Complete surprises, Chris. As you mentioned, this game everyone thought was going to be played at 3 o'clock today in the winners bracket, but that's the beauty of the conference tournament. Anybody can win on any given day. It's 9 innings, fresh records, you throw everything out, and that's why you saw the upsets. You saw Presbyterian take care of Campbell, and you saw Gardner-Webb really put a thumping on USC Upstate.
Brantley, coming into this week, and these were both 2 teams that many thought could make an at-large run into the NCAA tournament, but a really good team is going to be going home today.
Yeah, it's unfortunate this time of year, especially with Campbell and USC Upstate. You mentioned they both were worthy of at-large bids, but getting beat by the lower-seeded teams likely knocks them out of that conversation, so the only way is for that conference tournament championship.
As we take a peek at the Sunbelt Rentals starting lineup, you look at USC Upstate's. They think that they have the firepower to defeat Campbell. How good is Upstate's offense?
Well, they don't think it. They know it, okay? 5 guys batting well over 300, and Cameron McIntosh right on the precipice batting at 299. These Spartans can hit 1 through 9. If they can find a way to get on the bases early and get a few runs across, you could really see these bats light it up.
These are the top 2 offensive teams in the entire Big South Conference, but it's going to be about what these teams can do on the mound. And as you know, they have to have a short memory as well. The Ingles' keys to the game is all about forgetting about yesterday.
It is, especially for USC Upstate. Game ending almost at midnight, have to get to bed, wake up, and get back to the ballpark. Not exactly what they thought was going to happen, having to play here at 11 o'clock. But for Campbell, also getting beat by the lower-seeded team, take a deep breath. You've got the player of the year. You've got all conference selections all around this diamond. Lean on your upperclassmen and find a way to get a win here.
One of those really good veterans is former Big South Conference Freshman of the Year, Ryan Chassie. He is going to get the start. He lives for moments like this, and it's up to him to get Campbell back on track.
Yeah, the sophomore left-hander, ERA just a shade under 4 this year. Not exactly what he thought he would have, but he's got an opportunity right now for Campbell to get his 7th win of the season, live to fight another day, and find a way to play tonight at 7 o'clock.
It is 11 a.m., but it is blazing here in Fayetteville. Already 88 degrees with the heat index into the 90s. It's going to be sunny, no chance of rain. There's also a 10-mile-an-hour wind blowing out today. We saw a lot of balls in the heat die in the outfield. You have to put a thump in it to get it out of this ballpark today.
You really do, and I mean, as you mentioned, this is a beautiful ballpark. It's my first opportunity getting to be at Segra Stadium in Fayetteville, but you mentioned it. You're going to have to really put a barrel to a ball to get it out of this ballpark. And it's so funny, these North Carolina summers, it felt like we skipped spring and went just straight to summer here.
Yeah, this is more like mid-July, early August than what we should do. Of course, as North Carolina often does on Sunday, it's going to be a high of 66 degrees. Both these teams hoping that on Sunday they're wondering where they'll be selected in the Monday selection show. But both of these teams, after losing yesterday, they're looking at winning 4 games in 2 days to get the conference's automatic bid. We are underway. Jack Hennessy, the center fielder, steps in at the plate, and it's fouled back for strike 1. Hennessy, sophomore, out of Moore, South Carolina. You see his season numbers, video game-like numbers up and down both the tops of these lineups. 2 of the best hitting teams in the entire conference, both hitting around 300 as a team for the season. Chassie is a competitor. Sometimes his emotions, according to his coaching staff, gets the best of him. but he's a fiery guy that you want out there in this late morning start.
He's exactly what you want on the mound right now in an elimination game. He's someone that's going to give you everything he's got. But the key for him today, if he's going to find success against Upstate, is he's going to have to stay in the lower part of that zone. Find a way to get ahead in counts and stay ahead, because these Spartan batters, if they find themselves in hitters' counts, can really do some damage.
Chassis falling behind the leadoff hitter in Hennessy. Hennessy 0 for 5 yesterday. Fed a strike, and now the count's full. Hennessy slashing .398, .453. The on-base percentage you want for your leadoff man this season. The 3-2. To short. No problem for Neto, the Big South Conference Player of the Year, and that's one away.
And you can tell, Chris, the emotion and the sense of urgency from Campbell there. Just a routine ground ball to Neto at short, and the dugout just explodes with excitement. Both of these teams realizing where they are and trying to bring their own energy, because one run could easily be the difference in the ball game if these pitchers are on.
You know, sometimes you have these elimination games in 8-team, 12-teams tournament, and there's not as much juice. It's two teams that think that they really don't have too much of a chance as the first pitch comes into Julian Rip. But Brantley, these are two teams that know they're the best teams in the Big South. They know they're a team that goes to the NCAA tournament. Everything on the line here at 11 a.m. on a Friday. Grounded to third, picked off at third. That is De La Cruz making his first start at third base, and it pays off early. That was a difficult play made look easy by the third baseman.
Good luck convincing me that that was his first start at third base. They don't call it the hot corner for a reason, Chris. He backhands it and makes a nice throw over to his first baseman and get that second quick out. And that's the key, if you can find a way to get outs quickly, because runs are going to be a premium on elimination day. Right, wrong, or indifferent, it's going to be tough to manufacture runs, because everyone knows that once that second inning gets here, we've only got 8 left in our potential season. So you have to find a way to get ahead and stay ahead.
Ryan Chassis just threw some heat up around the shoulders to Devin Buckner. The DH, considered by his head coach, Mike McGuire, in his second season, who has done a sensational job. He says Buck is our best hitter. Down in the count here, 0-2. Chassis trying to mow down the top of the order. Floats it to the outside for ball number 1. Buckner out of Lexington, Kentucky. It's an upstate lineup that has been pieced together. A lot of JUCO guys, some homegrown guys, a lot of guys that have been bouncing around and have found a home and have put together one of the best seasons in USC upstate baseball history. The 1-2. Fouled out of play. Buck out of Southeastern Community College, second team all Big South Conference. He hit .333 last year, better than that this year. Nearing .340, leads this team with 41 walks. This is a upstate team. They hit the heck out of the ball. They single and double you to death. Not a lot of power on this team.
They don't, but they hit into the gaps, and sometimes that's better than being able to drive the ball out of the ballpark, because you're barreling balls up. You may not get the elevation to drive it out, as you see with Buckner here, tied for the team lead with only 4 home runs, but 18 doubles. You see that with Buckner, Rabin, and Matthews, all with double-digit doubles on the season.
Called strike 3. Ryan Chassis told you about that emotion. The big guy getting a 1-2-3 first. Going to the middle of the first. USC Upstate nothing. Campbell coming up. Welcome back to the Ingles Big South Championship here on ESPN Plus. It's a Campbell team, two-time tournament champs, three-time regular season champs, and they're on the ropes as we take a look at the Sunbelt Rentals starting lineups for this Campbell team. It's a team full of first and second teamers, including the player of the year in Zach Neto. He is sensational. His numbers blow the mind.
They really do. Batting average well over 400, hitting at a 414 clip. The redshirt freshman really been a staple in this Campbell lineup, and being able to be your everyday shortstop as well. You know, it's a tough ask out of a young guy, but Neto has answered the call.
This is an upstate team that can pitch as well. That's Alex Garbrick Jr. He followed head coach Mike McGuire from Morehead State. He has found himself a home in the upstate. He's the arm, if you're the Spartans, you won on the mound in this must-win game.
Yeah, and both these teams went with their aces yesterday, didn't get the result that they wanted, but you've got to feel comfortable, both USC Upstate and Campbell, in the arms that you have here today. Your Game 2 guys, someone argued, just as good as the aces, so both of these guys are going to have to try to keep batters off bases, keep it low in the zone, because the ball can fly out of Seeger Stadium.
Bryce Arnold will lead things off, and the true freshman takes one on the inside corner for a ball. You want to talk about video game numbers, you'll see them here. What a freshman year for the Canadian. And that misses down low. Campbell's offense not video game like yesterday. No hit until the sixth inning against Presbyterian. Bryce Arnold broke up that no-no with 2 outs in the sixth. But of the many surprises we saw yesterday, I think the biggest surprise, Brantley, was this Campbell offense that had won 13 straight conference games in the top 5 in the nation, averaging nearly 9 runs per game. Were basically shut out for the majority of the game, managed just 2.
And I feel like they just ran into a pitcher that was on. You know, Charlie McDaniel for Presbyterian, lights out yesterday, going 6 strong innings, giving way to his bullpen. There's just nothing Campbell could do to manufacture runners and get runs across the plate.
Arnold swings through that pitch, and must like Chassie, the starting pitcher for Campbell, going to 3-2, a full count with Hennessy. We'll see what Garbrick comes up with here. The payoff. Belted to left field. It'll get down. Arnold, thinking 2 all the way, dives in head first, looks to the dugout, and that energy that you said coming from the defending champs on full display here. A leadoff double in the bottom of the first.
Great start here for Campbell. That leadoff double from Arnold is huge. If Campbell can find a way to get him across, as you see right there, just a pitch on the middle half of the plate, and he puts it down that left field line, and you mentioned it, he was thinking double the whole way, and that's what you have to do. You have to be aggressive early on in the ball game, steal a bag, ball in the gap, try to get an extra base, do something, because runs will be at a premium.
Connor Denning, the center fielder, in from the left side. Swings and misses, can't catch up to that pitch. So early trouble for Upstate. It's a Campbell offense that once they get going, keep going. And the last time these two teams met, it was a doubleheader where Campbell simply couldn't stop scoring 20 runs while shutting out USC Upstate in a doubleheader that happened back on May 15th. And we'll talk more about that series as this time goes on, but USC Upstate head coach Mike McGuire calling it the biggest series in USC Upstate baseball history, and the Spartans did not perform anywhere near where they thought they would. Lost a regular season conference title because of it. 1-2 to Denning. Arnold at second. Campbell that did not score their first run till the 7th inning in yesterday's 7-2 loss. trying to get on the board here early. Denning right to the third baseman. Great snag by Raybon. Out number 1.
Garbrick really able to battle back in and get that line out. It was a softly hit line drive right at Raybon, and that's what you got to do. You got the runner at second, get a line drive out or a strikeout or something to where that runner has to stay put. Short of the strikeout, that's the best outcome for USC Upstate right there.
1 away, the dangerous Zach Neto up, the Big South Conference Player of the Year. Second-year freshman out of Miami, Florida. Turns to bunt, and he got a piece of the bat and might have got a piece of his fingers there for strike number 1. Neto's numbers eye-popping. He had a 20-game hit streak this season in the middle of the conference year where his average was over 500. He had a .574 on-base percentage and slugged .964. In 20 games, he had 40 RBI and 9 home runs. You've been around this game for a long time, Brantley. You've seen some players on some hot streaks, but that is insane.
That's about as hot as it gets, and you sit here and you talk about video game-like numbers, and Zach Neto's numbers are as video game as they get. You remember the old game Backyard Baseball that we used to play on the computer? He was his numbers are like Pablo Sanchez. Doesn't matter where he is, if there's runners on, he's hitting the ball either in the gaps or over the fence.
Had to check on his hand a little bit. He seems like he's okay. He takes the pitch off the inside corner, 1-1. A Campbell team that's hard to pitch to just based on their numbers, but it's also a team that's not afraid to take one for the team. They lead the nation in getting hit by pitch. So you can go inside, but if you go too far inside, you're going to allow a free pass. The count 1-1. Arnold was leaning. The throw comes to McIntosh, but nowhere near in time.
You know, leading the nation is a stat that you can proudly say we lead the nation in such. But it's one of those I don't know if I'd want to be able to say that I lead the nation in getting hit all the time. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, with the pads that these players have on their ankles and their elbows now, they're more willing to stay in. But the fact is they find a way to get runners on.
There goes Arnold, and a hard pitch to handle, but not even attempting the throw after the great jump and secondary lead by Arnold. He slides into third, and now he's 90 feet away, and a fly ball to somewhere in the outfield with this wind blowing out could give Campbell their first run of the game.
And that stolen base was 100% on Alex Garbrick. Not sure if Arnold may have picked the signs and knew that the pitch was going to be either away or off speed, but there was no chance for Maynard to find a way to get on or to make that throw, so wisely holding on to it.
It's been a painful at-bat for Neto. Remember, he took a foul ball off the knuckles, and then he just fouled one off the foot. So Campbell's best hitter, the player of the year, getting beat up here in inning number 1. The count 2-2. We are right next to the downtown Amtrak station in Fayetteville. There are tracks that go parallel on both sides of this ballpark. You're going to hear some trains today. Fouled away.
I think that's probably the coolest thing for this stadium. You know, the city of Fayetteville able to bring a ballpark here, and as you hear the train in the background.
On cue to put
Yep.
the exclamation point on your point.
Well, it's just something that makes this stadium unique. Being in Fayetteville, you got the military bases around here, the trains going by. It's just one thing about this ballpark that I've really enjoyed so far in my first visit.
Swung on and missed. He went after the high, hard one. So Alex Garbrick Jr., a big at-bat in a big spot against the player of the year. He wins. That's a huge out number 2.
It really is. The strikeout there of Neto leaving Arnold over there at third. Now you're one pitch away from getting out of this inning unscathed.
Both of these lineups hitting-wise, there is no chance for the defense or opposing pitcher to take a breath. Here comes Spencer Packard. You got rid of the player of the year, and you have a guy who's the leading RBI man in the league.
Doesn't get any easier with this Campbell lineup. Once you get one quality batter out, you got one possibly even better coming up.
Packard also second in the conference in average, on base percentage, fifth in slugging. But he takes the first two pitches for a strike.
Now Garbrick can really expand the zone here with an 0-2 count, but you don't want to get too fancy trying to throw something in the dirt because a wild pitch here results in a run.
First run of the game, 90 feet away. The 0-2, Packard lays off it. They tried to chase off the outside corner, couldn't do it.
And you can do it again, Garbrick, if he wants to. 1-2 count now. He can try to go with something soft away or low in on that back foot to get a swing and a miss.
Big pitch. Misses off the outside corner. There is a lot of foul territory here. There's room behind home plate, but the net, as you can see, that goes all the way down to where the track behind home plate is, it's very tight, and we saw some caroms that came right back to the catcher on wild pitches. So just because it gets away, even with Arnold's speed, it's not set in stone that he'll score. Misses low, and how about that? 0-2 goes to 3-2. We've got a full count and some drama here early in the bottom of inning number one. The loser of this game will have their season come crashing to the halt. Packard trying to get Campbell on the board early. Arnold 90 feet away. Here's the payoff. He's able to muscle it out into center field. Packard comes through, and Campbell leads 1-0 in the bottom of the first. What an at-bat by the cleanup man for Campbell doing his thing.
Packard not really doing too much there. Got jammed, but he put the ball in a perfect spot just past the outstretched arms of the second baseman, Cameron McIntosh. And as you mentioned, Campbell getting a run here in the first, that can be huge in an elimination game.
So an RBI for the conference leader in runs batted in. Spencer Packard able to muscle it out into center field for his 61st RBI of the game of the year. This in game number 49. Colin Wolfe, the preseason player of the year. Second baseman today, batting fifth. And that's how deep this Campbell lineup goes. Wolfe did not have the year many projected, but he can still do that. That's a gapper. Packard around second. They're going to wave him home. Here comes Packard. Wolfe's in with a RBI double. And Campbell roaring back with 2 runs here in the bottom of the first.
Well, Campbell had a lot of runs left in their lineup yesterday, only getting 2 against Presbyterian, so it's not surprising to see these Camels come out swinging. And what a luxury to have your conference preseason player of the year batting fifth. I mean, granted, he isn't having the season that he thought, but he puts one in the gap at that 368 sign and gives the Camels a 2-run lead here in the first.
So a couple of 2 huge RBI hits with 2 outs. Remember, it was an 0-2 count to Spencer Packard. Garbrick was 1 strike away from getting out of this inning unscathed, and now things falling apart in him. Here's Matthew Christian. Christian batting 6th in this lineup. He has a team-leading 15 home runs and 58 RBIs this year. So it just keeps going and going and going. A lot of power up and down this lineup. Campbell with 63 home runs in 47 games this year. in the regular season. You have to put a pop into one to get it out today, but the wind is blowing out. The campus of Campbell University, just 45 minutes away from downtown Fayetteville. They have brought some orange fans, and along with the dugout, making a lot of noise here early. To third base, another good play. Raybon has made a couple and ends the inning. But a couple of clutch, 2 out, 2 RBI hits. Packard and Wolf come through. Campbell up 2.
After battling through a spring season fraught with upsets, injuries, triumphs, and tragedies, we have arrived. Every crack of the bat, every diving grab, every blistering fastball has led to this moment. Now is the time to discover who will take their game to the next level and emerge victorious. Now is the time to bring the title home. The Ingalls Big South Baseball Championship.
Pepsi Wild Cherry.
Tired of cooking at home? Change it up without getting up. Just order Jersey Mike's through our app for no-contact delivery or no-contact at-the-door pickup. Jersey Mike's. Be a sub above.
Power isn't born. It's built over time. For over 65 years, Hercules Tires has been providing the muscle to move more drivers. Whatever the vehicle, whatever the terrain. And we back it with a powerful protection plan. So wherever the road or the trail takes you, we have the selection, value, and strength to get you there. Hercules Tires. Ride on our strength.
Welcome back to Segres Stadium. It's the Ingalls Big South Conference Championship, brought to you in part by our friends at Pepsi. Pepsi knows what fans like, and there are some fans who are getting in the shade as we are already headed towards 90 degrees on this Memorial Day weekend. Pepsi, that's what I like. Welcome back to elimination game number 1 on day number 2 of the Ingalls Big South Championship with Brantley Hatrich. I'm Chris Haymeyer. We expected intense from the very first inning. That's what we got. That first inning felt like the last 3 innings of the game. We're in for a treat here this morning.
We really are. I'm excited to be a part of this and be here with you, Chris, and watching these quality teams go at it here. As you mentioned, it felt like the 9th inning of a tie ball game in a 0-0 score in the first. The intensity that Campbell was bringing from their dugout was, I think, helped lead to those 2 runs.
Chassis delivers a strike on the inside corner. It's Raybon, Matthews, and Magaha. Middle of this order for Upstate. Fouled towards the seats. Going to be room, though, however, for Christian to make a catch in front of his dugout for out number 1. 4 up, 4 down for Chassis and the Camels.
Yeah, you always like those foul balls over by your dugout because your team is going to try to help you out, tell you got room. Whereas if it was the third baseman right now, they're either telling you got room when you don't, or they're saying it's out, trying to get you to give up on it. So you always want to catch a foul ball in front of your dugout.
Something tells me that you know both the good and bad of that from your baseball experience through the years, Brantley.
Oh, I do. I've many a time ran into the roping or the poles in front of it because before I got to college, I played third base, and when you're on the road and you got the other team there, they're not as helpful.
Yeah, not going to win any sportsmanship awards when you're trying to corral a foul before the dugout.
Yeah, a few times I've knocked the breath out of me, and that's just a lack of awareness on my part, not paying attention to where the poles were.
Jason Matthews at the dish, the shortstop, right-hander. Takes down low. Might be the most mentioned player in the Big South Conference because his story is so unique. A senior out of New Zealand. If you think New Zealand, I didn't know that was a baseball hotbed. It's not. He grew up playing fast-pitch softball, still learning the game each and every day. But, boy, he has turned himself into a first-team All-Big South Conference player. .473 slugging, .429 on-base percentage. Started his career at Southeastern Community College. Takes a strike. It's 2-2.
Those are the types of guys you'd love to have on your ball team. You know, just raw athletic ability. You mentioned, you know, didn't grow up really playing baseball, only just recently started. And he's fantastic at shortstop from New Zealand. Just a great story.
Grounder to the second baseman. Wolf waits on it, delivers it over to first base. 5 up, 5 down. What have you seen from Chassie here early?
The left-hander has been really good at working in and out of the plate. He's not just peppering inside or outside. And when you are able to establish strikes on the outer and inner half of the plate, it makes it that much harder because these guys are so good. They've got so much spin, velocity, all that stuff. What you got to try to do is you eliminate a portion of the zone. And when a pitcher's on like Chassie is right now, very difficult to find a way to get base hits.
Robbie Magaha starting in left field today, just his 8th start of the year. He's hitting .278 on the season, no home runs and 11 RBI. Can he get things going for Upstate? Watches a pitch, dripped off the inside corner. And it's 2-0. The pitch to the right-hander misses down low, and now Chassie has fallen behind the number 6 hitter here, 3-0. Chassie this season, 6-2, a 3.88 ERA in the regular season. Led Campbell in innings, 69 2/3, his first year back from Tommy John surgery. Feeds a strike, taken all the way on 3-0. He was the Big South Conference Freshman of the Year. Bounced back from Tommy John. And now in the biggest start of his season, trying to keep Campbell's NCAA tournament hopes alive. Misses down low. First base runner of the game comes with 2 outs in the second. Magaha gets on at first base.
And you see Chassie pacing around the circle. There's nothing that upsets a pitcher more than a walk. But to have a 2-out walk gets your pitching coach mad at you as well. Don't want to give away free passes, but especially with 2 outs and the way he had been throwing 5 up, 5 down, and a 5-pitch walk to Magaha.
Jack Gallagher, the first baseman, up as Chassie and the Camels deal with their first base runner of the game. Campbell putting up 2 in the bottom of the first on 2 2-out hits. Grounded. Neto backhanded over to second in time. Wolf covering. The player of the year showing his leather as well. We go to the bottom of the second. 2-0 Campbell. watching this year's Ingles Big South Championship. Here's what's to come. We take a look at the bracket. It had been turned upside down by a couple of upsets yesterday. And boy, do we got a good day of baseball for you. The winner of this game today will go on to play the final game today at 7 p.m. The loser is done. And coming up in the middle game on ESPN Plus at 3, we've got Gardner Webb and Presbyterian. Brantley, two teams that defied expectations. I don't think anybody in this ballpark, except those wearing the red of Gardner Webb and the blue of Presbyterian, thought that they could make it here. Now in the driver's seat for today. With 4 teams, you win 3, you go to the NCAA tournament.
As you mentioned, one of those 2 teams after the conclusion of the 3 o'clock game will be sitting real pretty. Pitching will be set up, likely set up, I should say. The other one going to have to reset, kind of like we talked about USC Upstate, and play the winner of this game between Campbell and USC Upstate. And both of these teams were uncharacteristically off at the plate yesterday. USC Upstate, although it's only been 2 at-bats, still no runs to show for it. But Campbell, with that 2 spot early, is big because you start pressing in elimination games a lot earlier than you normally do in, say, a 3-game series.
Grant Harris will start things off here in the bottom of the second. And it's 2-2. Brantley, we talked about Upstate having to have a short memory last night as the train goes by. That's the train tracks on the other side of this very unique ballpark in downtown Fayetteville. And speaking of getting back on the tracks, Upstate, a quick turnaround. We've seen a little bit of a hangover of that early maybe, but again, these 2 teams met a couple of weekends ago. Upstate had a 1.5-game lead. Everything in their hands with 6 to go. If they would have won that series against Campbell, they probably would have won the regular season. Instead, Campbell wins a close game on Friday, blows them out, embarrasses them, according to their head coach Mike McGuire on that Saturday doubleheader. That ball belted to the gap in right field. It's going to fall in for a hit. Big turn. But Grant Harris is on with a leadoff single, but how much does that from a couple of weeks ago stick in the minds of USC Upstate, especially down here early to Campbell?
Well, it has to be a part of your mind. You mentioned likely looking at a regular season championship, had to take care of business against Campbell. They didn't do that, and you mentioned the blowout. And for the Campbells to find themselves up 2 runs here early in this ball game, those thoughts start to creep into your head just a little bit.
Was a double header that Campbell not only scored 20 runs between the 2 games, but shut out Upstate. Mike McGuire saying they were beaten like a drum, but they rebounded well, swept UNC Asheville, and he thinks that this is an Upstate team that's better than they were a month ago. That's been their mantra throughout this year, get better each month.
Well, here in the conference tournament, you just got to take it a game by a time. So just find a way to be better than Campbell by 1 run. And if win that ball game, then you worry about the next one. But all you can focus on right now is what's in front of you. And what's in front of USC Upstate right now is a 2-run deficit, and Campbell threatening here early in the second.
Mason De La Cruz getting the start today, his 13th of the season. His first at third base. He already made a really good play. Turns to bunt. Misses outside, and that ball's going to get away from the first baseman, Gallagher. It was a poor throw, and Arnold. Grant Harris at first decides to retreat back to first base with 1 out.
Had Gallagher not got his glove on that, Harris is easily at second base, so being able just to knock that down, keep the runner, keep the double play alive. De La Cruz trying to sacrifice the runner over ahead in the count 2-0. Curious to see if they'll keep the bunt sign on here.
They do. Pushed up the first base line. That has a chance to go foul, and everybody's going to be safe. It wasn't a bad play for Gallagher to let that one go. That looked like to everyone in the stadium and me up here, we are right down that first base line. There's no way that was going to stay fair. It did. Campbell cooking with 2 on and nobody out here in the bottom of the second.
I'll be honest, I thought for the second straight day we were going to see something like what we saw with Javi Baez yesterday with the Cubs, but he decides to let it go, hoping that it will roll foul, and it doesn't. But De La Cruz able to get on now with a bunt single. Just a quirky play all around right there. Don't dislike the decision from Gallagher to see if it rolls, but at a certain point you got to make the decision to pick it up, touch the base, and live with the sacrifice, which is what De La Cruz was trying to do.
And I think that's where they went wrong.
But you saw that play yesterday with Javi Baez and the Pittsburgh Pirates. A lot of conversation that I've been seeing on social media. My understanding is that when a runner is running down first base and they stop and retreat back, that they've given themselves up and an out is officially recorded. But yesterday, Baez ends up on second base and Anthony Rizzo nearly falls over the railing at the dugout. He's laughing so hard at how that happened. You know, they talk about this game. It really is a child's game. It doesn't matter what age you are. And just seeing different things like that happen just put a smile on your face.
Former Big South Conference broadcaster, now with the Chicago White Sox, Jason Benetti, had, I think, the best tweet of all for that. He's a great follow, by the way. But he said if you were dropped down from a different planet onto that game, you would have thought there were actual Pirates trying to play baseball on the diamond there, the way that one went. That's why we love it, Brantley. Me and you have seen a lot of baseball games over the years, and every day we seem to see something new and different. That was a play we've seen before. You don't see very often in Upstate. After a long visit on the mound, in a heap of trouble here early in the bottom of the second with their season on the line. Misses away the number 9 batter catcher, Ty Babin. He's the veteran you want up there when you need to drop down a sacrifice, when you need to read the right signals and make the right decision. He's the guy you want up to the plate right now.
Yeah, if De La Cruz was trying to sacrifice and he's rewarded with that single, you best believe Babin's going to be trying to do the same thing.
This time, the baseball gods try to right their previous wrongs, and it does roll foul.
Yeah, what Raybon did right there, you watched it as it was rolling along the grass. Once it started trickling over towards the dirt, with the grass being elevated, it was going to force it to go foul. Smart decision by Raybon to let that one go.
And a little bit tougher, possibly, for Campbell, who plays on an artificial surface for all of their home games, coming to natural grass, which is on the majority of diamonds in the Big South Conference, so they've played on it a lot. This is a beautifully manicured field. Minor League Baseball, of course, not played here last year, and just one week-long home series so far for the home of the Fayetteville Woodpeckers. The low A affiliate now of the Houston Astros. In the shuffle, they dropped down from the high A to the low A, but this is one of the best ballparks in minor league baseball. Not even 2 years old. And there's a strike on the inside corner. Crowd doesn't agree with home plate umpire Zach Neff, and neither does Campbell head coach Justin Hare. A discussion will take place.
Well, I can't say I disagree with the third base coach going down there. In fact, I went to my score sheet and wrote down ball 2, because in my opinion it looked like Babin had pulled back the bunt, but he's saying he kept it around long enough to justify it being an offer at the pitch.
And Babin, as we take another look.
Well, I take that back. I have to say that it's a called strike potentially, because Babin brought the bat back from squaring around to bunt quite early.
The count now 1-2. Pops it up. Difficult play, made even more difficult by the basket catch over the shoulder. So Babin who we hyped up as being the man that you wanted with the bat in his hand. A little bit unlucky and then pops one up. So exactly what Campbell didn't want, exactly what the Spartans did want as we turn over to the top of the order.
Yeah, surprised to see Babin still bunting there with that 2 strikes. But the over-the-shoulder Willie Mays catch there by the pitcher. And that's a big first out now because one pitch and USC Upstate can find themselves out of this jam.
Garbrick with a great catch on a much-needed out number 1. Bryce Arnold in the bottom of the first inning delivered a double. He stole a base. It was back-to-back RBI hits with 2 outs from Packard and Wolf that got Campbell on the board. Campbell, the regular season champions, 3 straight years, trying to win their 3rd straight Big South Conference tournament. To do it, just like Upstate, they're facing what would be 2 wins today, 2 wins tomorrow. It's going to be a true double elimination tournament this year in the Big South Conference. That's a change from previous tournament structures, which was a winner-take-all final day game. It's true double elimination. It's a big hill to climb. Better throw. Might have got Grant Harris there. They're paying a lot of attention to the speedster at second, and Harris was almost picked off.
Yeah, you're right, though, Chris. I do think had the throw been a little bit more on target, Harris would be the second out of the inning. Just a little bit too aggressive there at second base. Trying to get that extra jump.
Good speed out on the base pass for Campbell, Harris, and De La Cruz. Just 1 out. Arnold has grounded into 2 double plays this season. He can fly. Watches up high for ball 1.
Seems like Arnold's been at the plate for a couple minutes now. Hard to believe that's the first ball of the at-bat, first pitch of the at-bat.
There's a look at Grant Harris at second base. De La Cruz at first. A single, a bunt single. A pop out on a bunt attempt. And wide for ball 2. Arnold, true freshman out of Grimsby, Ontario. That's right on Lake Ontario, about 30 miles from Niagara Falls. What a freshman season it's been. He's a true freshman. 39-game on-base streak earlier this year. Finished the regular season hitting over .330. Low.
You know, you bring up the classes this year with COVID. All the players that were available last year had the option to come back. You've heard COVID insert classification. You've heard redshirt insert classification. But the best one that I heard was returning insert classification, so that you know that they weren't redshirted, because sometimes redshirt means that it's either academic or athletically they chose to redshirt that player this year.
Ball 4. Arnold's on for the second time in 2 innings. And the leadoff man for Campbell loads the bases for the heavy hitter. There is 1 out in this inning. Connor Denning up to the plate, and then Zach Neto, the Big South Conference Player of the Year. This is very early in this game. But USC Upstate, as well as they hit, is not a team built to score 7, 8, 9 runs, and that's according to their head coach, Mike McGuire, in a conversation we had with the entertaining head coach. What a great guy, what a great story. Back down south where he met his wife, his adopted home. He did wonders at Morehead State, did all he could do there, and has now built this USC Upstate program up. But they want to go to the NCAA tournament. Disappointed they didn't get a trophy in the regular season. And this is the game where their season hangs in the balance.
And that's why you saw a couple pitchers for USC Upstate hustling down to the bullpen behind left field. It's, win or go home right now, so everyone's got to be able to throw at some point, and that's why you saw the movement in the USC Upstate dugout.
Denning takes the first 2 pitches outside, and now it's 2-0. And Garbrick in a mess. Bases full with 1 away. Denning lined out on a hard hit drive to the third baseman his first time up. Takes all the way and takes a strike.
Smart take there, even though 2-0 usually get the green light. But with Arnold having a 4-pitch walk and then throwing 6 consecutive balls, you don't want to try to run into a double play here. So that take on that 2-0, not normally something that's light, but I thought it was a good decision there.
Denning pops one up. Mid-left. Harris tags. The throw, not in time. Scores standing up 3-0 Campbell on the RBI sac fly from Connor Denning.
It's a good job there by Grant Harris. Not sure if he was trying to deke the left fielder at the beginning because he didn't appear that he was going to tag. Then goes back and tags and easily scores standing up. You got to try to get a run every inning. If you can do that and win each inning that way, you're going to win a ball game. And so far, Campbell has won the first 2 innings. 2 in the first, 1 here in the second, still threatening.
Zach Neto up, the threat not over. 2 stay on, but there's 2 away. And Brantley, if Garbrick can get out of what was a bases-loaded 1-out situation with the meat of the Campbell order coming up, giving up just 1 run, that's going to be a win for him, and he's going to keep this team in the game early. Neto takes one on the shoulder, and that'll load the bases again.
And that's something that USC Upstate has been frequently a part of here early on in this Big South tournament. Last night in the first inning, bases loaded for Gardner-Webb, and crazy enough, USC Upstate was actually able to get out of that inning with no runs scored. But they have not seen that same success here as they got bases loaded with Packard at the plate, who's already got a RBI single on the day.
He came up with a big 2-out RBI single in the first inning, and that's going to do it for Alex Garbrick Jr. As the loser of this game's season most likely will end right here today, this afternoon. There is no tomorrow. Garbrick having trouble getting outs. Campbell was hitting him pretty good. His defense let him down a couple of times, but they're going to go to the bullpen early and often because, again, as you said early in this game, Brantley, before you win 4 straight, you got to win 1.
You do, and that's why you're seeing a change early on in this ball game. Bases loaded, 2 outs, down by 3, but you mentioned there is no tomorrow. And USC Upstate going to their bullpen, it looks like it's number 10, Austin Morgan, the right-hander. That's who I saw trotting down the left field line just a few short minutes ago. It's amazing how quickly these relievers get loose nowadays. Granted, it helps that you're in 90-degree weather, so you're never really cold. So just a few arm swings, throw a couple balls to your catcher, and you tell him, all right, get down, I'm ready to go.
So Austin Morgan comes in, one of the very good and reliable arms on this USC Upstate team. 4-1, 2.80 ERA. This is appearance number 19, second most on this team. All out of the bullpen. This is a team that is littered with first and second teamers in the entire Big South Conference. The 2 top teams in the Big South Conference certainly took home all of the Big South Conference awards. And that's why many were thinking that this is a matchup we'd see at 3. But you see Zach Neto, the player of the year, Jordan Marks, who was touched up for 6 runs. Such a surprise that he had really his worst outing of the year yesterday in game 1 of this tournament. He was the pitcher of the year. Thomas Harrington, who had to come in relief yesterday for Campbell. as they tried to salvage and come back. He was the freshman pitcher of the year, and Mark's also the scholar athlete of the year. Plus, they basically fill up both the first and second teams.
Yeah, well, that's usually what you have when you have the number 1 and number 2 seed. Majority of the players that you'll see out there are part of the all-conference team in some capacity, and so that's why you're bringing in such a quality reliever in Austin Morgan. Like you mentioned, 19 appearances. Usually not this early in the ball game does Morgan find himself, so it'd be interesting to see if that is something that helps or hurts him. I can tell you, as a former relief pitcher myself, I usually threw in the 5th or 6th inning or later than that. To have to get the call in the second, it can be a little bit difficult.
Packard at the plate, takes the first pitch for a strike. Morgan with 3 saves on the year, usually goes about 2 innings. But right now, his mission to get the Spartans out of a heap of trouble. Bases loaded, 2 away, one of the most dangerous hitters in the conference at the dish. Packard takes a strike on the outside corner. 2 strikes out of the pen is a pretty good start.
What's his back-to-back counts now that Packard has found himself behind in the count 0-2? Last time he was able to work it full and get an RBI base hit. He was able to do that again.
You're exactly right. Such a patient hitter, nearly a 500 on-base percentage to go along with all that power. The 0-2 goes after it, chases one at the shoulders, and stays alive by fouling it back. Packard to go along with his 61 RBIs now on the season, 29 walks, slugging .639 on the regular season, 9 homers. The sack's full of Camels. Spartans trying to keep it close early. The 0-2 part 2, outside, ball 1. Packard out of Tucson, Arizona. Like upstate, handful of transfers on this Campbell team. That's the way they have done it this past decade of success. 3 trips to the NCAA tournament. Packard out of Arizona Western College. The 1-2. Misses low. It has been a tight but consistent strike zone for home plate umpire Zach Neff.
It has, and you hear the disgruntled fans for USC Upstate. And how nice is it to be able to say that with the way the season started, no fans? To be able to say that fans are disgruntled at that strike zone is something that's nice to be able to say.
The 2-2. Grounded to first, scooping it up. Gallagher makes up from an earlier misstep. 1 comes in, but the base is left loaded. We go to the 3rd with the season on the line. It's 3-0 Campbell. Welcome back. An early 3-0 lead in this elimination game. Hercules Tires is the official tire of the Big South Conference, providing tires with unbeatable quality at an unmatched price for over 65 years. Whatever the vehicle and whatever the terrain, Hercules Tires invites you to ride on our strength. For a retailer near you, visit HerculesTires.com. Chris Ameyer with you, Brantley Hatridge alongside. This has been intense. We knew it would be. Campbell has threatened, left 4 on base, including the bases loaded. Leading 3-0. Ryan Chassie has been very good, the starter on the mound for Campbell. Upstate starter has been bounced, but with everything going wrong on the mound and defensively for Upstate, here we are in the third. It could be a lot worse for the Spartans, down just 3-0. Popped up, shallow right. Battling the wind and making the catch in right is Harris for the first out as Cameron McIntosh flies to shallow right field. Out number 1.
Yeah, you always have to try to find the positive here. The positive is this. If you're in that USC Upstate dugout, you're talking to your son and say, hey guys, we could be down a lot worse than 3-0 right now. We've been able to battle back from it, but we've got to find a way to get some runs across. That's what the coaching staff is telling the players. I mean, only 4 runs in just over 11 innings of work so far. That's not something you expect out of a USC Upstate lineup as powerful as they are. So I'm not sure if they're pressing a little bit or if, the pitching that they've seen has obviously been fantastic so far between Gardner Webb and so far Chassie here today.
Garrison comes in to pinch hit. Maynard was scheduled. Garrison puts a jolt into one with the wind blowing out. This is going to get up against the wall. About as far as you can hit it in this stadium without getting it out. And an early pinch hit roll of the dice comes up aces. Garrison put in for Maynard and leads off this inning with a double. It's the first hit of the game for the Spartans.
Talk about a great pinch hit roll right there. Making the adjustment right there, going with the pinch hit.
He had a home run last night in the game, in the 9th. And they go to him again, and boy, he loves swinging in this ballpark. So Garrison on at second, and we turn over to the top of the lineup. Here's Jack Hennessy, grounded out to short his first time up. Jack looking for his first hit of this tournament. Finished the regular season hitting .343 and leading this team with 52 runs scored. Chopper. Neto makes it look easy, and the runner Garrison advances to third. So Upstate, after all the trouble in that hour-long first 2 innings, down just 3-0. And 90 feet away is Garrison for completing their first run and cutting this deficit to 2. As you said, you look to the positives. If they can get that run home from third, it's a whole bunch of positives here early.
I thought Neto was going to get eaten up there by that short hop, but these guys are so gifted nowadays. Makes it look so easy, so nonchalant. Feels it right in the center of his chest and makes a strong throw over to his first base for that second out. Chassie now, even with a runner at third, he can just focus on Rip. Try to get out of this inning.
Rip grounded out to third, his first time up. Misses away. Julian Rip on the all-name team. He's a senior out of the Netherlands. I told you they come from all over and found a home at USC Upstate, pushing this program to new heights. Second team All Big South Conference performer, started his career at Hutchinson Community College. Takes a strike on the outside corner. Rip is one heck of a right fielder, too. He's basically a center fielder that they have playing in right. Mike McGuire loves his outfield. He says they're the best defensive outfield in this or any league. Amtrak comes rolling through the station here in Fayetteville.
It really is such a nice day here at Seeger Stadium. Had a few trains come by so far. In fact, one train came by right field, parked and backed up. I guess he decided I was going to stick around and try to watch this game.
The first of 3 today here in downtown Fayetteville. And what a way to start the day, 1 versus 2. Ryan Chassis wanted that. A called strike 3. Instead, the count runs full, 3-2. At third base, Garrison. A pinch hit double to lead off this inning. Spartans trying to get across their first run of the game. Rip takes it inside, ball 4. Second walk of the game, second in as many innings for Chassis. And that'll put runners at the corners with 2 away. Here's Devin Buckner, a strikeout victim to end the first, his first time up. Buckner, big night last night, 2 for 3, a run scored and a couple of RBIs in that 11-4 Gardner-Webb win. That was a 6-0 game going into the third. Pitcher of the year, Upstate's ace, highly thought of future pro product Jordan Marks couldn't get out of the second inning. Time will be called now. Tyler Robinson comes up, the pitching coach assistant for Campbell comes up, and I think looking to really settle down Chassis. We talked about his emotions, both the good and the bad, the roller coaster ride, and you could see the emotion after not getting that called strike 3 on the previous at bat.
I've done that jump before on the mound, a pitch that I really wanted, so I understand where Chassis is coming from right there, but the pressure is on. I mean, every pitch is a high leverage situation in an elimination ball game, so you understand why Chassis felt the way that he felt.
And that bounces, and Garrison comes home. So Chassis' troubles continue here all of a sudden in the third. He was cruising through the first 2 innings. A pinch hit double, a walk, now a wild pitch. And it's 3-1 as Upstate scores their first run of the contest.
And Babin got back there quick enough, just was unable to barehand it and turn to make the throw.
Buckner with the chance now to make it a 1-run game, and will down into the corner. On his way to second, it's a big 2-out RBI double for Devin Buckner, who's feeling it. Upstate right back into this ball game. 3-2. Campbell's lead cut to 1.
Well, you knew they weren't going to be kept down for long. As good as these bats are for USC Upstate, it was only a matter of time before they started to get things going. And you see right there as Buckner gets one on the inner half of the plate, he goes down and gets it and just guides it down that left field line for a 2-out RBI double.
Raybon up, and another single could tie this game. Campbell with all the momentum early, and the pendulum has swung back into the way of USC Upstate. Raybon fouled out his first time up. And it's 2-0. Two doubles in this third inning. Garrison, the pinch hitter, started it off. Buckner with a big 2-out double. And it misses inside. Rabin, freshman out of South Carolina, started his career at USC Lancaster, second team All Big South. Inside, ball 4. Chassis isn't missing by a lot, but that's walk number 3 of the game, walk number 2 of this inning.
You're starting to see some movement in the Campbell bullpen as well. Looks like it's number 7, Thomas Harrington, getting loose again.
Harrington, the freshman of the year. Big time starting arm for Campbell. We told you he was inserted into the game yesterday. As Campbell tried to come back, that ball fouled away. He ended up throwing 2 1/3 innings. Was touched up for 3 runs late in his appearance. Everything's on the table in elimination game number 1.
Yeah, really the only guy that's unavailable from yesterday for Campbell is their starter. Everyone else, there's a decent chance they could hear their number get called.
Jason Matthews falls off that pitch, and Chassis ahead in this count 0-2. So all with 2 outs, a walk, a wild pitch, a RBI double from Buckner. A walk from Rabin. Lead runs on at first base. Tying run at second. This has been a first third of this game chock full of drama. This is high. These two teams have never met in conference tournament play. Of course, Upstate, a relatively new member to the Big South Conference, was in the Atlantic Sun when they first made the jump to Division I. They actually don't have many conference tournament wins. This just their 4th conference tournament appearance, trying to make the most of it. Hits him on the foot. That'll load the bases.
It's crazy how quickly this inning has unraveled for Ryan Chassis.
I was going to say, Brandley, what have you seen going wrong with Chassis?
Well, it's like you talked about at the beginning of the game, it's the emotion. It's something that plays for him, and it's also something that can play against him. And it seems like he's overthrowing just a little bit. When you see that breaking ball spike into the ground like that off the batter, usually when that happens, a pitcher's overthrown their breaking pitch. And that's appears to what has happened for Chassis there, but bases loaded here, only a 1-run lead.
What a spot for Robbie McGaha, making just his 8th start of the season. He walked his first time up. The bases are loaded. Upstate, that was down 3-0 coming into this 3rd inning, could come out of the top half of the frame with the lead. Strike on the inside corner. And again, Chassis is ahead in the count, 0-2. McGaha hitting .278 this season, limited time. He's 10 for 36. 11 RBIs, just 1 extra base hit. Stays alive with the late swing. The count stays 0-2. McGaha, a senior, JUCO transfer out of Olney Central Community College. He's an Illinois native. Bases full of Spartans. They're going to keep the ball in Chassis' hand to try to get out of this bases loaded mess and keep Campbell in the lead. to the screen. Boy, Chassie pumping up the velocity on that pitch.
And it looks like Magaha is just in swing mode right now. That last pitch especially was out of the strike zone, so if Chassie could try to expand it here, maybe something hard away or even something low away, just to see if Magaha is really in that swing only mode right now. I mean, 4 pitches and he's fouled the last 2 off.
They dialed up exactly what you prescribed there. Down in the dirt, Magaha stays off it.
Babin really working hard there behind the plate this inning. And he had the wild pitch that he wasn't able to keep in front of him earlier, but he was able to do that right there and save the tying run from scoring.
This Campbell team loves how he receives. He really gets down and gives you a target. Called strike 3, inside corner. Magaha caught looking. And Ryan Chassie gets out of a jam. But the Spartans scored 2 back in the ball game. A 1-run lead for the defending champ.
Power isn't born, it's built over time. For over 65 years, Hercules Tires has been providing the muscle to move more drivers. Whatever the vehicle, whatever the terrain. And we back it with a powerful protection plan. So wherever the road or the trail takes you, we have the selection, value, and strength to get you there. Hercules Tires. Ride on our strength.
Did you know that Geico's whole 15 minutes thing, that came from me? Really? My first idea was, in 1/4 of an hour, your savings will tower. Over you, figuratively speaking. But that's not catchy, is it? It's not going to swim about in your brain. So I thought, what about 15 minutes, 15%? Serendipity.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Here comes the pitch. Oh, strike 1. Yes. Oh, strike 2. Yeah. Yeah, baby. Oh, strike 4. Yes.
Striking out can be pretty exciting when you're striking out hunger. Go to feedingamerica.org to join Ingalls and the Big South, and let's strike out hunger.
The running Bulldogs sitting right now, waiting to see which of the favorites to win this tournament are eliminated. Gardner-Webb feeling they're the favorite now. They blew out Upstate 11-4, got to their ace Jordan Marks yesterday. They will take on 4-seeded PC, who beat up Campbell in yesterday's opener. That's 3 o'clock coming up on ESPN+. With Brantley Hatridge, I'm Chris Haymeyer. Brantley, we knew this was going to be intense, but gosh, this feels like a championship Saturday, not an elimination game Friday. This has been something else through the first 2.5.
It really has, Chris. I mean, both these teams leaving it all out on the line. You saw the strikeout for Chassie in the top half there of the third, and the third base coach for USC Upstate not happy with that call, letting the home plate umpire know, and this is only the 3rd inning.
Colin Wolf to lead things off. He had a big 2-out RBI double in the first. Campbell with a couple of 2-out hits from Packard and Wolf to get him on the board in the first. An RBI sac fly by Denning in the second. But Campbell left the bases loaded in inning number 2. Austin Morgan came in, got a big out. And boy, how big does that moment loom right now as his offense picked him up. And the reliever came in a tough spot, got the Spartans out of it. We got ourselves a tight ball game.
Yeah, both of these teams having to battle out of bases loaded jams a couple times here today.
Wolf, a 4-hopper to the shortstop, high throw. Gallagher brings it down. Matthews delivers, out number 1.
That's why you put the big guy over at first base. You want your longest and tallest target over there. That way if one happens to sail on you, kind of like it did there for Matthews, got a big frame in Jack Gallagher to throw to. So just a standard 6'3" put out in the scorebook. No one needs to know that the throw is a little bit high.
Swing and a miss. Matt Christian, who grounded out to the third baseman up for Campbell. Upstate with 2 errors in yesterday's game. Leading to an unearned run. It's simple for Upstate, or at least simple for their head coach Mike McGuire to have. He says when they're filling up the strike zone on the mound, when they're playing good defense, they win a bunch of games.
The thing about it, though, Chris, defense is key when it comes to postseason play. You can overcome it in a regular season. You have a couple errors, you can just bash your way to some runs, but sound defense and solid pitching is what really brings championships in conference tournaments.
Campbell did not commit an error yesterday. Neither did PC, and Gardner-Webb just won. We had a couple of surprising but well-played games from both PC and GW yesterday. Taken low 2-2. Now let's talk about this USC Upstate team. This is why this game looms so big, and a very good team that could possibly get a 3rd seed in the NCAA tournament will be eliminated, quite frankly, today. If you go 2 and barbecue in your conference tournament, you're not going to get an at-large bid. Big swing and a miss, strike 3.
No, you're not. You watch the polls, you see, what Baseball America puts out, you see what D1 baseball puts out, and one of these 2 teams now, if they're going to make it, they're going to have that little asterisk next to them because they're the automatic qualifier.
Yep.
I mean, I've seen as recent as this morning that D1 baseball still had the Campbell Camels as the automatic qualifier. So at least someone over there at D1 believes that if Campbell can find a way to win this elimination game, that they have a good shot at still winning this tournament.
Grant Harris up. He started off the second with the single and scored a run. Strike on the inside corner. And to your point, USC Upstate came into this tournament. Baseball America had them as one of the last 4 out. So both of these teams with RBIs in the 30s and 40s respectively were in the bid for an at-large bid. And obviously the team that loses today will be out of that conversation. But these are 2 really good teams that are in the losers bracket right now fighting for their seasons. These are 2 teams that, by some projections, could be a 3rd seed in a regional. Strike on the inside corner.
And I do believe that if either one of these teams happens to win the tournament, that they're going to be a tough out.
Yep.
They've got solid pitching, starting and relief. They've got quality bats. They're going to likely get matched up with a Power 5 team if they end up being the 3 seed. So I would not be surprised for them to be a tough out.
Grant Harris takes one on the leg, but Morgan upset and talking to the home plate umpire, thinking that he stuck a leg out. Austin Morgan not happy with that call. That'll bring up Mason De La Cruz. So Morgan, who had erased every batter that he faced, has one that barely gets away. And that'll keep this inning going. Mason De La Cruz, you remember, trying to sacrifice bunt, got on as one that hugged the line and hit the bag.
They're really respecting Harris over there at first base. 7 of 10 on stolen bags this season. He's getting a lot of attention. You know, last time he was on second base, they had a few back picks to second base.
It's a Campbell team that stole 90 bases in 47 games in the regular season. Upstate, and Austin Morgan knows the statistics as well. Upstate scoring 2 in the top half of this third inning, right back in the game after a shaky start. Austin Morgan, a big reason for riding the Spartan ship. And it misses down low.
I mean, they're out away from winning this inning. They lost the first 2 innings, giving up 2 runs in the first, 1 in the second, but they were able to claw back and get 2. They did leave the bases loaded, but they've got 2 here, and if they can find a way to get an out, they would find themselves winning the third inning, which is, you know, you're only down by 1 inning now, so find a way to win another one.
De La Cruz can't catch up with that fastball. And the count's 1-2. The third baseman stands in. Out of Auburn, Washington, Tacoma Community College product. Morgan delivers. Just misses. Tried to get him to chase. He would not. 2-2. Just getting a piece. De La Cruz stays alive. We told you about everything USC Upstate had on the line coming into this game. Campbell, one of the hottest teams in the country, 3rd longest win streak in the country overall coming into the tournament, 10 games. They had a 13-game conference win streak. That came screeching to a halt yesterday afternoon. And a team that had their sights set on 3 straight tournament wins, 3 straight trips to the NCAA tournament, find themselves on the ropes and in a battle against Upstate, the team trying to dethrone them from the top of the conference. 2-2. Staying alive, De La Cruz.
And not to take away anything from Presbyterian, but a team that has won that many consecutive games, when you get slugged, you know, get punched in the mouth early, and like Presbyterian did, when you won so many games in a row, you kind of forgot what it's like to play from behind. And Presbyterian 100% earned that win. And they showed it yesterday with Zacchaeus Raspberry and some quality pitching.
Called strike 3. Emotion on both sides of this diamond. What a game. We're only a third of the way through, and it's the defending champs leading Upstate 3-2. We go to the top of the 4th inning. The number 1 seed, Campbell, leading number 2 seeded USC Upstate 3-2. Campbell took an early 3-0 lead. A couple of those runs erased. And as we go to the top of the 4th, what a game so far on a steamy day at Segra Stadium in downtown Fayetteville, North Carolina. It's the Ingles Big South Conference Tournament. And this is an elimination game on 2 teams that had their sights set on the NCAA tournament. One dream will be dashed by mid-afternoon today. First game of 3 here in Fayetteville. It's already 92 degrees.
And the only thing hotter than the temperature right now is the intensity coming from these dugouts. After that strikeout to end the bottom half of the 3rd, Austin Morgan let out a big scream, and his dugout was loving it.
Boy, he's been good. Very good. Allowed just 1 base runner. That was on a hit batter. So now it's Ryan Chassie. Delivers to Gallagher, pops up. So shallow in center that Wolf, that got off to a tough start, recovers and makes the catch. I was just about to ask you, are you surprised that Ryan Chassie, with that up and down and emotional 3rd inning, is back out there? But I think that harmless pop-up to the first batter that he faced here at the bottom of the order answers that question.
No, I'm not surprised in the slightest bit to see him out there. Yeah, he got touched up for a couple runs in the previous inning, but he was making quality pitches that just weren't getting called strikes. So it's not like he's really throwing poorly by any means. Plus, you can't think about the next game, but you have to think about the next game at the same time. And with him throwing pretty good.
Cameron McIntosh rides one that's going to go all the way to the track. Double all the way for C-Mac. And the second baseman, batting 8th in the lineup, has the 3rd double of the day for Upstate. 3 hits, all doubles. So when they do get to Chassie, they're finding the gaps. And the tying run on second again here for Upstate.
Well, we discussed it. Upstate is not one of those teams that's going to ride it out of the ballpark often. But what they will do is they will gap you to death. Left field line, right field line, left center, right center. Find a way to put the ball in the gaps and turn those into doubles or potentially triples.
Now Brady Garrison is a man that can get it over the fence and out of here in a hurry. He had a home run last night. He had a double that almost left the park as a pinch hitter in the 3rd. And here he is again, needing just a single to tie this game.
And it's just an observation, Chris. You have to think, if Garrison finds a way to reach here, you'll see Thomas Harrington coming in from the pen. He was the one warming up in the last half inning. I believe it's still Harrington in the bullpen. So if Garrison finds a way to get on here, you could see a potential pitching change for Campbell.
Garrison swings and fouls it away. You always have on successful teams an unlikely hero in the conference tournament. Garrison finished the regular season hitting .200. He didn't have a home run. He only had 1 extra base hit, limited appearances, but he has found something here late. And the catcher trying to add to his unlikely tournament resume. Not this time. Sky to left center field and getting peeled off by the center fielder. Denning makes the call. Packard nearly falls, and it's a comical out number 2, but it counts.
Yeah, you can share a laugh after that. Both of them calling it. That's why your center fielder, your captain, usually ends up winning that conversation. But Packard, yeah, tripping a little bit, as you saw. And they can share a laugh out there in left center field.
Those are always funny when nobody runs into each other and you make the catch. Back to the top of the order, Jack Hennessy has already seen the plate 3 times. He's 0 for 2. Upstate needs to get their leadoff hitter going. Hennessy is 0 for 7. Hasn't reached base yet in this tournament. Jack, only a sophomore. out of Moore, South Carolina. He was the third leading hitter on this team in the regular season, hitting at a .343 clip. They could use a hit from Hennessy here. Would tie this game in the top of the fourth.
That was a smart called pick play from the Campbell dugout. Chassis really upset that he did not get that pitch for a called strike. So instead of burning a potential mound visit, they called that.
Back up the middle, Hennessy on cue is going to tie this game. What a time for Jack Hennessy's first hit of the tournament. And we are tied at 3 unanswered runs from USC Upstate.
It's a quality piece of hitting there from Jack Hennessy, taking advantage of the emotion from Chassis. He misses on that 0-0 pitch for ball one, and he never really kind of let it go. You thought maybe with the pickoff attempt to second that it could have calmed him down, but he just left that right over the middle of the plate.
And Campbell's going to go to the bullpen. Brian Chassis frustrated as he'll be taken out of this game. And making his first relief appearance of the year, one of Campbell's best starters and the freshman pitcher of the year in Harrington. So a move early, and Brantley, you talked about it. Hey, they're going to start him again to this inning, see if Chassis could right the ship, get control of things, and it looked like the answer is no. And although they would love for Chassis to eat some innings, they're going to have to go to the bullpen.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you got to do on an elimination game. Someone doesn't have their best stuff, which Chassis didn't have. He was not on his A game today, but he was just doing enough to get you by, and then he got touched up for 2 in the third. Now he got touched up for another run here in the fourth. He's responsible for the runner on right now, but you know, he got those 2 outs. He was 1 out away from being able to get out of this inning and living to fight another inning. And it's unfortunate for Chassis and Campbell that he wasn't able to do that.
We'll take a break. Come back in 30 seconds after this. Campbell goes to the pen. Thomas Harrington was one of the best starters in the entire Big South Conference. He came in for a relief appearance yesterday. Campbell was trying to close the gap against Presbyterian. At the time when he came in, it was a 4-0 game. But yesterday, Harrington, 90-93, throws 4 pitches for strikes. He was probably going to redshirt this season, but boy, Harrington, a sensational job this season as a starter. Yesterday, Campbell didn't go to him in the bullpen, but this is his first bullpen appearance of the year. So as we talked about, and we talk about in elimination games, all hands on deck. That's what's happening right now with Thomas Harrington, the freshman from nearby Sanford, North Carolina.
And it's a big situation for Harrington, as you mentioned. They're going to ask a lot out of the freshman right-hander, but he's been so far so good this season. As you mentioned, the accolades following number 7.
And you really get the feeling trying to read the mind of the Campbell coaching staff as Julian Ripp stands in and takes it away. This could be your last game of the season. If you win this game and you're quote-unquote best starting pitcher, Harrington is sub-3 ERA, 5-2 on the year. This is his first relief appearance. Hasn't made an appearance in the tournament. That's probably on you.
Yeah, it really is. You don't want to leave any bullets left in the chamber, so to speak. You want to fire on all cylinders, and if that means using Harrington out of the bullpen, then you use him out of the bullpen.
On the other side of that coin, you probably look at it and say, hey, if Campbell is going to win this thing, they need to win 3 more games after this. Well, you're going to be going up against teams in the losers bracket game later today and the championship game tomorrow that are going to be onto their 3rd day and 4-day pitchers as well. So you might not need as big as a hammer as Harrington has been this year. The count's 1-2.
To find the positive in this, whoever wins this game is going to get roughly a 4-hour break. The loser of the Gardner-Webb Presbyterian game is going to have an even quicker short-term memory than USC Upstate, because they just stay in their dugout because they got another game in 50 minutes. So that break can help a team reset. You're feeling good after coming off of a victory, and you can try to pounce on a team that just lost a ball game within the last hour.
You make a good point. The advantages of being a #1 seed, which Campbell is. Trying to keep this game tied in the 4th. Harrington out of the pen. Chop to 3rd. That is not an easy play. And his foul. We'll come back and do it again. Back to your point, Campbell being the #1 seed, yes, they lost the first game of the day, but they were able to be back to their hotel at 7, kind of have a normal night like you would after a Friday night game on a weekend series. So we take another look. Very close, but the umpire up the 3rd base line, Dave Pritchett, right on it. USC Upstate got out of here at 11:30, got back to the hotel a little bit before midnight, had to be back here at the ballpark around 8:30. It was not a normal night for them.
No, it wasn't. And that's the thing about conference tournaments. It's nice to be able to play that last game of the day, but if you find yourself on the losing side of it, the way the schedule usually breaks out, you have a very, very quick turnaround.
And the winner of this game still backs up against it. But you make a great point as well. They'll have 4 or 5 hours, depending on how the middle game goes, between Gardner-Webb and Presbyterian.
And they'll also have, at minimum, 9 innings of elimination experience. Gardner-Webb and Presbyterian, there's no real pressure in the sense that if they lose the game, they're going home. But you lose that game, and then you're in an elimination game right there. It's a completely different style of baseball being played when you're in elimination versus the winner's bracket.
These 4-game conference tournaments, boy, you love them to watch them, don't you? Because it's like regionals. You go up and down, and the roller coaster ride of emotions with your season on the line is something special. The count is 3-2. Out of the pen for the first time this season. Harrington misses low. And the lead run in the form of speedy Jack Hennessy. The center fielder is on second after Rip draws the walk. And here's the best hitter on Upstate's team, Devin Buckner, who delivered an RBI double in the 3rd. Comes up with the chance to give Upstate a lead here in the 4th.
That really was a fantastic bat by Julian Rip, getting his 17th walk of the season right there. Excuse me, 18th walk. Back-to-back walks now for Rip, so really showing great plate discipline there and just trying to find a way to get Buckner up. He finds a way to bat with runners aboard quite often.
Buck, as they call him, has been so good this season. He is in a big spot now. You want to talk about a momentum roller coaster and a shift. Campbell had everything going their way through the first 2 innings. Left the bases loaded in the 2nd. It has been all Upstate since. And if the Spartans, who were shell-shocked after a late-night loss and an early morning lead for Campbell, if they take the lead here in the 4th, that dugout's going to explode.
It really is, and you talk about the momentum. It's not necessarily an RBI or, a home run. It could be a defensive play or getting a team to leave their bases loaded. All it takes is one thing to just swing the momentum just a little bit, and that's why USC Upstate has found themselves with the momentum now.
Neto, make sure that doesn't happen. But Upstate adds another run. We are tied at 3 as we go to the middle of the 4th. What a game, 1 versus 2 at the Big South tournament. Tied up at 3 as we go to the bottom of the 4th. It is a blazing hot, steamy day in Fayetteville, North Carolina. 91 degrees. Wind at 10 miles an hour is hot and blowing out. Be a good time for a Mountain Dew. Our friends at Mountain Dew knows that fans deserve something to quench their thirst every day of the week, especially game day. So no matter where you might be cheering on your team, it's always a good time for a Dew. Mountain Dew. Do the Do with Brantley Hatrich. I'm Chris Haymeyer, and folks, we're not just faking our excitement here. When we went to commercial, I turned to Brantley, he turned to me, and we said this is a heck of a way to start off the Memorial Day weekend. This game is intense, and it has been since our 11:02 first pitch time.
You love the intensity. You love being a part of this. It reminds me so much of the games that I got to play in throughout high school and even into college. Just battling with your teammates, knowing you're in an elimination game. It just, every pitch feels so heavy.
It's a good way to put it in the heavy air of Fayetteville. That wind's blowing out, but we have seen a lot of would-be wall balls die in this thick air. We also talked about in one of the breaks that it feels more like mid-July in the Carolinas than almost June. These teams are used to it. USC Upstate, it's like an oven for about 4 months of their year. Bowie's Creek may just be the hottest place in North Carolina. So both of these teams well-tuned to playing in very hot weather. Speaking of well-tuned, Austin Morgan has been just what this Upstate team has needed from the bullpen. He has been sensational. 1 1/3 innings, the only base runner he's allowed on a controversial hit by pitch. Big swing and a miss. Ty Babin, the catcher and number 9 batter in the lineup, to try to start things off for Campbell, that finds himself in a tie game all of a sudden.
Well, this is what you need out of a reliever. Austin Morgan coming in, throwing strikes, putting up zeros. That's what you got to do as a reliever. You don't have time to mess around. You get ahead in the count. You really get him one pitch, and that's it. You got to come back in there.
Babin popped up a bunt his first time up. Ty Babin really took over the catching position. He did not start off as a starting catcher of this team. He was a leader off the field, became a leader on. Ended up with a batting average near 300 on the season after a slow start. And it's rips like that, swings that he wasn't getting at the beginning of the year, that he has fine-tuned and tuned in. Morgan has been efficient. This will be pitch number 28 coming up. Used to throwing late in games. Babin belts one to left field. This one hit well off against the wall. Babin thinking 2 out of the box, slides in safe. Ty Babin, his bat leading Campbell today.
It's a great job by the Campbell catcher not trying to do too much with that. You see the wind is blowing out there, but it is going from left to right. He barrels this one up and just doesn't try to do too much. Takes it over to left field, off the wall. And Magaha played it perfectly, making that play at second a lot closer than it should have been.
So the number 9 batter in Campbell's lineup bangs a double to start the bottom of the 4th. Lead run at second for Campbell. Back to the top of the lineup, Bryce Arnold. The freshman takes a strike. Arnold has been on base twice. He doubled and scored a run, stole a base in the first. He walked in the second. He has 2 hits in this tournament. No Camel had multiple hits in the 7-2 loss to PC yesterday. Just 5 hits and 2 runs for the suddenly offensively inept Camels. They have turned that around today. 3 runs, 6 hits already. If you're wondering about Austin Morgan, yes, he is a reliever, but 3 appearances ago on May 8th, he went 5 innings at High Point. He can stay out there for a while. And the right-hander for Upstate, again, not happy with the tight but consistent strike zone of Zach Neff so far. I will say Neff has been equally as stingy for both of these teams, at least through my eyes.
But yeah, the last inning, USC Upstate went down on a controversial strike on the inner half with bases loaded. Well, then they got that same strike 3 call with Campbell to end the bottom half of the 3rd. So he may be tight, but he has been consistent. And you can complain all you want, but that's all you want is consistency. So if you're going to be tight, be tight. If you're going to have a wide zone, have a wide zone. So Neff behind the plate has been really good at staying the course.
That's a good point. The most frustrating thing, and you know, is your time on the mound is when it's all over the place. Baseball players will adjust. Swung on and missed. Morgan adjusted that time and got Arnold to chase. That is a big out, number 1, with the lead run at second here in the bottom of the 4th.
And you see right there, Arnold just upset with himself. That pitch never really started out in the zone, and that's a big strikeout for Austin Morgan.
Here's Connor Denning. Sack fly, RBI in the second. That got Campbell to 3. Garrison, who inserted as a pinch hitter early in this game and has taken over backstop duties, crossed up with the signs, and goes out to talk to Morgan. What have you seen from Austin Morgan on the mound? Boy, what a relief appearance for him for the Spartans.
That's the key word there, relief. He's being a true reliever right now. There's the no-nonsense attitude. Pounding the strike zone, getting ahead, and keeping these Campbell batters off bat. That's exactly what you want from a reliever when they come into the ball game. Someone that's going to throw strikes, that's going to bring the intensity, and Austin Morgan has done exactly that.
Close, but not close enough. 1-0. Ty Babin, catcher for Campbell, led off this inning with a double. He's the lead run standing at second. We're in the bottom of the 4th. What a game we have seen so far. Campbell went up 3-0, chased the Spartan starter. The Spartans came back with 3 runs, 2 in the 3rd, 1 in the 4th, to chase Campbell's starter, Ryan Chassie. We're into the bullpens early. It's the top 2 hitting teams in the Big South Conference, 2 teams that thought beginning this weekend they were destined to go to the NCAA tournament. One of them is going to have their dreams dashed today. couple of close pitches, much like we saw with Ryan Chassie. Not close enough.
Now, I will say this, watching the interaction from the Upstate coaching staff to the home plate umpire, they are asking Zach Neff if that's away, while also at the same time looking at Gallagher. And on that last pitch, Gallagher nodded his head in agreement that the pitch was away. So the fans may not think that that was a ball, but there was agreement from everybody there that that was a ball.
Denning skies one to left, and with that sun high in the sky, that was a more difficult catch than originally thought for Matthews. He did a good job of bringing that down. You got the wind, you got the sun, you got a major league pop-up in the shallow left field of this minor league ballpark.
And that was an interesting decision there by Connor Denning. A 3-0 count. Home plate umpire with a pretty tight zone. I was very, very surprised to see him swinging there on that 3-0 pitch.
Denning, a big power threat. That's one of those you scratch your head if it's a pop out to left. If it goes into the mellow mushroom kid zone over the left field wall, then you tip your cap.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where you praise them if it works out, and you, I don't want to say scold, but you disagree with the decision if it results in an out.
I agree with you. The way this at-bat has gone and the very close pitches, that might have been a good take. Instead, a leadoff double that was set to give Campbell the lead could be wasted. And again, Austin Morgan has been sensational.
Well, if it's gonna be wasted, Austin Morgan has 100% earned it. Going through would have gone through the top third of the Campbell lineup and getting the player of the year for that third out.
Neto 0 for 1. He's been hit by a pitch. He's struck out 3 times in this conference tournament. The pitch to the player of the year misses low.
After the pop out by Denning on the previous 3-0 count, very, very confident that Neto is going to be taking this 3-0 pitch.
With first base open, you wonder how aggressive Morgan is going to be here. The 3-0 to the player of the year, wide for ball 4. So Neto is put on, and with first base open, probably strategically the thing you tell your pitcher to do. But one of the reasons why both these lineups are so tough to tame is you can put one guy on, try to pitch around him, but there's another big bopper coming up, especially for Campbell's lineup, and here's one of them in the cleanup man, Spencer Packard.
I tell you, if there was an all-flow team for the Big South Conference, Spencer Packard is first team, likely player of the year.
Packard's hair flowing out of that helmet. Like Sampson, it has helped him to an unbelievable year at the plate. Finished the regular season hitting near 380, 9 homers, 60 runs batted in 47 regular season games. Slugging .639 while an on-base percentage of near 500. Campbell's just looking for a single for him here. That's a strike. At second is Ty Babin. And at the plate, Spencer Packard.
It's a fantastic pitch there by Morgan, but familiar territory for Spencer Packard. 3 plate appearances so far. All 3 have resulted in 0-2 counts.
Morgan delivers, it's popped up. This should end the inning and the threat. Matthews again fights the sun and the wind. And Campbell strands a leadoff double at second. Morgan has been magnificent. We are tied at 3, going to the 5th. Boy, a picture says 1,000 words, doesn't it? There are about 5 rows between those two teams set to square off next in the winner's bracket, but they are a million miles apart, trying not to look at each other, PC and Gardner-Webb. Hey, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Find out how much you could save with a fast, free quote at geico.com. I think they're discussing strategy about how to get each other out in game number 2 coming up, scheduled at 3 o'clock. It'll be 50 minutes after the conclusion of this one. PC and Gardner-Webb, a 3 and a 4 seed, now with dreams of taking the automatic berth to the NCAA tournament. Boy, that's going to be a great game.
It is. You see both those teams on their phones, probably trying to get in touch with Geico to make sure their insurance hasn't lapsed for the collision that they're about to have in that winner's bracket.
Wow, that's going to be something. Because, again, it's a true double elimination today. The winner of that game will have 2 chances to win one and punch their ticket to the NCAA dance and a regional next weekend. They were 2 teams who believed that they could get to the NCAA tournament. And that wasn't just after yesterday. First pitch misses inside. Rabin, Matthews, and McGaha, 4, 5, and 6, the middle part of this Spartans order up here in the top of the 5th. 3-3, 3 unanswered from USC Upstate after an early 3-0 Campbell lead. Right back to the pitcher. Harrington, one of the best starting pitchers in the Big South Conference, has come out of the pen and has done his job. And there's out number 1.
I was curious to see how Harrington would react coming out of the bullpen. As you mentioned, he's been a starter all season long. And right, wrong, or indifferent, there is a different mentality, a starter's mentality versus a reliever's mentality. I was a reliever in college, never started. It was just tough for me to mentally get over that hump as a starter with the warming up and the timing and everything. I like the fast twitch and try to get going on a whim. So to see Harrington come out and be successful early on in this relief appearance shows that he can do it all for Campbell. He can start, he can relieve, he can give you really anything that you need.
Here's Jason Matthews, 0 for 1, hit by a pitch and ground out. Ripped foul. Back to your point. And I think really even tougher for a starter to come out and relief. This is the first relief appearance of the year for Harrington because you go into the day, heck, you go into the week knowing when you're going to start, how you're going to start. And these guys are quirky. They have a routine. They like to do the same things at the same time before they're starting. Here it's thrown out into the bullpen, go in and pitch. Harrington has responded well so far.
Yeah, I hate to agree with you about my fellow pitchers. We are quirky.
Come on, you know.
We are quirky. There's no doubt about it.
You love routines.
Exactly. You do not like getting thrown off your routine. So I will agree with you.
Harrington has worked into a pretty good routine in his first relief appearance of the year. They'll check down to first baseman Jamie Roebuck. He says no. And the count goes to 3 balls and a strike. Matthews at the plate. Fantastic shortstop. His head coach, Mike McGuire, says he can play shortstop for any team in the country. But he has really made himself into a great hitter. That's been the difference this year. On cue, a gapper. Matthews, big turn. He's going to go for it. At second with a double. 4th double of the game for the Spartans. In this enormous outfield, in this big ballpark. You hit one into the gap, you're going to get a double every time, and that's what the Spartans have been doing. Gapper after gapper after gapper. Matthews barrels it up perfectly.
And he does, continuing that mantra that we talked about for USC Upstate, finding the gaps, turning singles into doubles. I mean, that was going to be a double all the way, but Matthews had to hustle out of the box to make sure. Wasn't like it was something that was into the gap against the wall. Just a hard hit ball, and you just see guys just out here competing, turning singles into doubles.
First pitch, a strike to McGaha. McGaha walked, was retired at second to end the second, and then struck out looking with the bases loaded in the 3rd. 2 runs had already come in for the Spartans. They added one in the fourth to tie the game. He's in another big spot here. A single, and he would almost certainly score. Matthews from second and give the Spartans the lead. It is still midway through this elimination game, but it has felt like the 8th and 9th inning from the start. Good stop by Babin behind the plate. Robbie Magaha, senior, out of Buffalo Grove, Illinois. Fouled away. How is the wind affecting this game? Every time we get ready for the pitch, you can see kind of shaking that camera in center field. How is that affecting things for the hitters today?
Well, you could sit here and say that it's affecting them, but I mean, both teams, Upstate with 5 hits, Campbell with 6. I mean, they put barrel to the ball quite often. I mean, the pop-ups are the most adventurous right now as they're trying to figure out how to stay underneath it and not let it fall down.
Not able to get the barrel on the ball that time, Magaha, as he strikes out for the second straight at bat, and that'll set the table for Jack Gallagher.
Magaha completely fooled there on that breaking ball. And that's a big strikeout, especially with that 1-out double from Matthews.
We have seen some clutch hits. We've seen pitchers getting out of jams. Upstate has left 6 on base, Campbell 7. It looms large in a 3-3 game. Harrington starts off with the first pitch called strike. Matthews at second. He is the lead run. Elimination game. One of these two teams, Campbell, the 2-time defending tournament champs, Upstate, trying to go to the NCAA tournament for the first time as a Division I program. The hack to third. De La Cruz avoids the runner. Strong throw to first and ends the inning. Harrington works around a 1-out double. This one getting good. Relievers settling in as we go to the bottom of the 5th. The first elimination game of the Ingalls Big South Championship. 3-3 as we go to the bottom of the 5th. For the best in Big South coverage, visit BigSouthSports.com. Stay current with the latest news, stats, standings, and much more. Enjoy video features showcasing remarkable student athletes or connect to school sites and social media all from one place. Remember, the source for your conference information is BigSouthSports.com with Brantley Hatridge. I'm Chris Ameyer. Brantley, see if you can sum it up in 30 seconds. What have we seen here, man? A great game as it's 3-3 exactly halfway through.
Well, we've seen two teams find a way to get runs across early in the ball game. The relievers have really settled in, some timely hitting. and just an overall slugfest. Honestly, I mean, Campbell strikes for 3 in the first 2 innings. USC Upstate battles back, gets 3 in the 3rd and the 4th, and where we're sitting here in the 5th right now, tie ball game. You can't, if you're surprised that it's sitting at a tie ball game right now, you haven't been paying attention to these two teams. There's a reason why they were 1 and 2 in the conference.
Campbell with a conference leading average as a team at 309. USC Upstate right there with them at 301. Fouled back to the screen. When we had our conversation with Mike McGuire, head coach in his 2nd year for Upstate, we talked to him about that, and he said, yes, Campbell is the team we're chasing. They're the team we have circled. They are the conference champs 2 times over. And he says, yes, they hit well, but look at the statistics. We're right there. If we're not first, we're pretty much second, right behind them in everything. He knows he has the bats to keep up with this team. Colin Wolf gets one through the 5-hole there of Magaha. And the aggressive run to second. Wolf takes a mistake for the shortstop from USC Upstate and magnifies it. That's Matthews, the shortstop. Got ate up by that grounder. And then Wolf made it cost 2 bases.
And Wolf hustling out of the box right there is exactly what you want. And you see right there, it gets into left center and a little bit nonchalant from the left fielder and center fielder, as well as the shortstop Matthews from USC Upstate. Wolf recognizes that and turns a 1-base error into a 2-base error.
3rd error of the tournament for Upstate. And Campbell, for the 2nd straight inning, leads off with a man at second base. Ty Babin got on with a true double in the 4th, but the Camels could not cash in. And now Matt Christian, who is 0 for 2 today, and 1 for 5 in the tournament, trying to give Campbell the lead back here in the bottom of the 5th.
And Upstate playing a shift, even with the runner at second on Christian. A lot of real estate over there at second base, but the stats show that he pulls the ball, which is why you're seeing 3 defensive players on that left side.
He pulls this one high and deep and long gone. That is a bomb. And Matt Christian has given Campbell a 5-3 lead with an exclamation point.
Well, that's an easy way to beat a shift right there. Just hit it out of the ballpark. And Matt Christian hits an absolute no-doubter just to the left of that Ingalls sign out in center field. We thought the wind would be a factor, but Christian just obliterates that ball.
16 home runs, and that swing says it all. I mean, that ball would have been out of any ballpark.
And he went down and got that one, too. That's the thing. It wasn't like it was a poor pitch, middle in, belt high. I mean, it was low in the zone. He went down there and golfed that one over that wall in center field.
That's a good point. Morgan didn't as much make a mistake as Matthew Christian went down and got it and powered it. My goodness. And then, of course, the error makes a tough situation worse. What would have been a solo home run is 2 because of the mistake. And in the blink of an eye, the swing of a bat, Matthew Christian has put Campbell up 2. Grant Harris wants a piece as well. Takes a big cut down in the count 1-2. That is just the 2nd home run Austin Morgan has given up this year. That one hit deep, not deep enough, making the catch and left Magaha.
And that wind's really playing a factor out there. It looked to be a lazy pop fly off the bat, but, I mean, Magaha catches that one a few steps shy of the warning track.
Mason De La Cruz up. He's 1 for 2. Misses away. Obviously, Brantley, the confidence back for a Campbell team. They were as red hot as any team in the country in the top 5 in runs scored, and they were no hit into the 6th in yesterday's 7-2 loss. And the second straight error for Matthews. And now De La Cruz is going to get to second. And Matthews at shortstop, who can make amazing play after amazing play after amazing play, has been eaten up here in the 5th.
And the ball, it's crazy how this game works. The ball always finds somebody who's struggling defensively right now. And Matthews at short let that one come in one hop too many and just gets handcuffed there. And back-to-back two-base errors at shortstop has allowed Campbell to have runner at second.
And we'll change the conversation. Campbell hitting well, but if you're going to give him extra at-bats, you're going to be in a ton of trouble. Strike on the outside corner. You know, we talked to Mike McGuire about this. Matthews' head coach said, okay, he has 16 errors on the season, but a lot of times he gets close to balls that normal shortstops couldn't. And so it looks like an error because it goes off his glove. That's a one-hopper that is gobbled up by Gallagher. Advancing to third on the play is De La Cruz. But those have been two quote-unquote routine plays that he simply just hasn't made.
I mean, they've been hit hard, but as you mentioned, they're routine. They're right at him. And it looks like he just got handcuffed there, maybe playing for an extra bounce that might not have needed to be played, come in on the ball. You always try to give yourself the best hop possible. And you mentioned, I mean, this is a game he is still learning. So you got to take the good with the bad. You're going to see the spectacular plays, and then you're going to see the head-scratching plays.
That ball's just going to get out of play. Bryce Arnold in the top of the lineup up now. Matthews, to his defense, has done a lot better. He's had a 3-error game this year, a 2-error game. But he is coming into this game today, made just 1 error in the last 10. So he has cleaned up so much, and unfortunately here in a rough bottom of the 5th inning, his 2 errors have loomed large. Misses low. Now if his pitcher Morgan can get Arnold, it'll be 2 errors that equal just 1 run. Morgan has pitched well. He has been let down by his defense here in the 5th. Ground ball. Matthews with another chance. Makes up for it. What a play. Matthews stays mentally tough. But on the other side of things, it's another Matthew Christian with a big home run to put Campbell up 2.
There's not a secret to what actually happens behind the scenes at a bank. Here at First Citizens, we're trying to educate the client in each step of what's actually going to happen and actually have them make the educated decision around what steps and what options they utilize. We want to become that trusted advisor that actually guides them down that road, helping you reach your goals. That's Forever First.
I'm crying 'cause I love you.
Pepsi Wild Cherry.
Tired of cooking at home? Change it up without getting up. Just order Jersey Mike's through our app for no-contact delivery or no-contact at-the-door pickup. Jersey Mike's. Be a sub above.
The doctor said I had prostate cancer. I needed to do something else. Can I go to proton therapy? Hampton University Proton Therapy Institute. He said, yeah, you can do it, man. It's a breeze, man. When I went for the treatments, there were no side effects. Whatever you could do before, you could do it after. Thank you, Jesus. I'm so glad I can go down there. But I tell you right now, I wanted to let those people know that I really appreciated it. And HU is his spot. This is Cindy. When you call her up, she's so nice on the phone. This is Jen. This is Ashley.
Well, the fans have certainly got their money's worth at a game that started at 11 a.m. The top two teams in the Big South Conference, at least by seeds. Number 1 seed Campbell, number 2 seed USC Upstate, both upset yesterday. This is an elimination game. Loser will have their season come to an end unless something very odd happens. Both these teams, very good RPIs coming into this tournament. Campbell at 38, Upstate at 43. As told to us by WarrenNolan.com, Baseball America had Upstate as one of the first 4 at-large teams out. But certainly whatever team loses this game, goes 0-2 in the tournament, their NCAA tournament hopes are dashed.
Yeah, it's hard enough playing in an elimination game, but to know that if you lose this ball game, your season is over, puts that much more pressure on both of these teams.
McIntosh, the second baseman, batting 8th at the dish. 1 for 2 today. Garrison on deck. Then back to the top of this lineup. It has been such a sensational year for Upstate. In the conversation for an at-large, that's something that a couple years ago unthinkable for this program in your wildest dreams. Mike McGuire came in. He made Morehead State into a winner. Morehead State, not known for their baseball. He made it into a winner. He told us when we talked to him at the beginning of the season that, hey, this was a place in Morehead State that he loved, but he knew that was about as far as he was going to be able to go there. He knew about how they love baseball down south, and he said he spent 17 years down here. Of course, his 2 oldest kids born in South Carolina. He was a South Carolina guy in his career. Misses low, ball 4 on the 3-2 pitch, and tying run comes into the plate in the form of Garrison. But he said, you know, he thought that USC Upstate was a sleeping giant. They're a mid-major, an affordable school. They've got facilities, a great town. He thought he could build a winner at USC Upstate. Brantley, regardless of what happens here, he already has.
Oh, agree 100%. I mean, 22 games above 500 on the season. You know, USC Upstate, beautiful campus. I've actually driven by there multiple times. And they just, you know, South Carolina, the Carolinas in general, love baseball. So to build a team and to build a program takes a lot of hard work. And you have to give a credit to the entire coaching staff for USC Upstate to be able to be in this position, you know, fighting for a conference championship here in the Big South.
Garrison at the dish. He had a home run last night. A home run would tie this thing. He had a double all the way that one short hopped the wall. His first time up as a pinch hitter. He popped out to shallow center his last time to count 1-1. Also, too, and this might have been more ego than anything, but Mike McGuire said, you know what, when I was at Morehead State and I beat Kentucky, wasn't even a spot for it in the paper. When he had a couple of big wins already with USC Upstate, people know about it around the baseball winter. Baseball down south means a little bit more. Wolf with a good snag, throws it to first, and diving back in time is McIntosh. His Upstate team is back on the map and people know about it. He beat Clemson 12-2, and it was more than just a little blip in the newspaper.
Yeah, I remember earlier in the season when they did that. I'm scrolling through my Twitter feed and just seeing, you know, Clemson and USC Upstate are trending. And you thought, well, that's odd for a midweek to be trending. And then you go look and you see USC Upstate just steamrolling the Clemson Tigers.
Yeah, they not only beat them, they beat them 12-2, Brantley, and then coming back and winning at Georgia Tech on April 6, 9-3. That's why Upstate in the conversation for an at-large bid, and that's why this would be very devastating for USC Upstate. They're going to think about, regardless of what happens the rest of this weekend, how great this season was, really a program-changing year. But this is a team that was in the driver's seat for a regular season crown a couple of weeks ago. That didn't happen, and now facing elimination.
But that's the thing you have to do for a mid-major. You have to go out there and play those Power 5 schools if you want any consideration whatsoever outside of winning your conference tournament. And that's why, we mentioned earlier seeing them on Baseball America's first 4 out. I mean, seeing a mid-major with an at-large opportunity is fantastic.
Slug to left. Hennessy, who came up with a big RBI single in the 4th to tie, flies out to left here in the 6th. Upstate will take you on anytime, anywhere. That's a good point about it. Matters who you play. They created a game on May 18th at the University of Louisville in between 2 conference weekend series because they wanted to get that RPI up. They went all the way to Louisville, lost just 8-6. I mean, every team they have played, they've been competitive with out of conference. We know, of course, what they've done in conference. They beat Wofford. Beginning of the year, sweeps against Toledo, College of Charleston. They have had so much success out of conference, and again, nearly winning a very competitive Big South Conference this year.
But you love the fact, as a fan base for any of these teams, but specifically talking about USC Upstate, you love the fact that you schedule these games, you get games against Louisville, against Clemson, against Georgia Tech, team games you likely should lose. I mean, not just talking about the reality here, you're talking about going to a Power 5 school and playing them. Games that you likely should lose, you end up shellacking Clemson. You play Louisville close. I mean, that's what you have to do in order to even be considered for these at-large bids with that RPI, as you mentioned.
Rip chops it foul. And this was such a tough year as well to get the midweek games going because of the expanded conference schedule in the Big South. You really had to find some spots in the schedule, and you had to do some creative scheduling. And that's exactly what USC Upstate has done. Like we said at the beginning of this broadcast, it's going to be a shame for whatever team loses this game because they've had a great year and could get some wins at an NCAA regional. Misses away.
Yeah, I agree. I think either one of these teams, if given the opportunity, I think they could surprise some people and get a win, possibly two, in a regional. I mean, you don't want to face either one of these teams, especially proven winners. You look at them both. Campbell, 18 games above 500. Upstate, 22 games above 500. Winning is contagious, and it's not. And once you learn how to win, you keep winning.
Two and two the count. Good battle here between Harrington for Campbell, the reliable starter, just a freshman, 5-2, 2.94 ERA, making his first relief appearance of the year. He's gone 2 innings, given up just 1 hit, walked a couple, but has kept the Upstate bats quiet and does it again. Swung on and missed. The strikeout of Rip. Harrington works around a leadoff walk. And as we go to the middle of the 6th, Campbell leading 5-3. Elimination game, the first of 3 games today on the ESPN Plus. This is the Ingles Big South Championship. And if you want to find the best variety of officially licensed merchandise for the Big South Conference, as well as school-branded items, go to BigSouthStore.com. Gear up with new apparel or find that perfect gift. Get fully equipped for all of your game day fun at BigSouthStore.com. Number 1 seed Campbell, number 2 seed USC Upstate, both with top 50 RPIs in the country. One team will go home and their season will come crashing to a halt in the next hour or longer. The way this game has gone, buckle up. Campbell took an early 3-0 lead. Upstate tied it at 3 in the top of the 4th. Both starters were chased. We have had brilliant bullpen performances by Austin Morgan, still on the mound wearing number 10 for Upstate. Thomas Harrington for Campbell. First pitch swinging, this one skied a mile high off the bat of Connor Denny. And the catch made as it stays in play. Brantley told you about that wind. It made it difficult, but pushed that one back in, and Gallagher made a heck of a catch.
Yeah, initially off the bat, I thought it was heading into the stands, but then I look out there and see how hard the wind is pushing out into left field. And you see Gallagher right there really having to work hard for that one. Just watching it through our vantage point, it starts out of play, and then you just see it subtly start coming back in. And I'm wondering, okay, that's going to come back into play, and then realize, oh, he's going to have a chance to make this play.
Here's Zach Neto. It's the meat of the Campbell order. 2, 3, and 4. Denning is retired, and luckily that ball didn't surprise the first baseman of Upstate, Gallagher, like it did me, because off the bat, I just started to go on to something else because there was no way that ball was going to be in play. We check weather.com right now, and not only does it say the heat index is 93, but they're claiming the wind's blowing 17 miles an hour. And it is blowing from the first base line to the outfield, thus the push back in. Down low.
Well, it makes sense. Earlier we were talking about the lazy fly ball out there to left field.
Not so lazy today.
Yeah, it's not so lazy. I mean, off the bat, it looks routine, and then you start seeing the Upstate left fielder take a few steps back, and next thing you know, he's just shy of the warning track.
Neto grounds to Matthews. High throw. Matthews makes his 3rd error of the game. My goodness. The nightmare of the middle innings continues for Matthews. Remember, he made the final out of that 5th inning where he committed 2 errors. It touched them up for just 1 run, but that was a high throw. Had it been on target, I believe Neto would have been out.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate for Matthews when it rains, it pours, and the ball seems to keep finding him. It was 2 boots earlier in the last half inning, and then a throwing error here. Now, I'm not a huge fan of giving out errors as well, but you just have to write down an E6 right there as a good throw, and it gets them.
Packard unloads and comes up empty. Upstate has had a good plan for the big boppers of this lineup. 2 through 4 are combined 1 for 8. Packard has that 1 hit. He's 1 for 3. 3 errors have equaled just 1 run. The mistakes for Upstate haven't hurt them too bad yet, but with an offense like Campbell, if you keep giving the extra chances, the extra at-bats, it's not a recipe for success. We'll see if Morgan, who has pitched brilliantly on the mound for Upstate, can work around another mistake. Remember, we had a mishandled bunt in this game. It wasn't put up there as an error, but Upstate, especially on the infield, hasn't helped out their pitching staff today. In an elimination game where you need everything clicking.
Yeah, by the technicality of the rule book, that mishandled bunt is not labeled an error but a hit. But really, there's been 4 or so miscues for USC Upstate today.
scored correctly. Packard way in front of that ball that could end up in South Carolina. Bounces off the indoor batting cages down the right field line. This ballpark just in its third season. Last year didn't have one because of COVID, of course. This has become the place to be in Fayetteville, North Carolina, home of the low A Fayetteville Woodpeckers, an affiliate of the Houston Astros.
I have a couple friends that live down here in Fayetteville, and they told me that Woodpeckers games are just such a treat to go to. You know, originally being from Charlotte, I've got the privilege to go see the Knights a lot back when they were down in South Carolina, but now that they've got that beautiful new ballpark right in downtown Charlotte next to the Panther Stadium, you find yourself watching a lot more games.
A beautiful place and a great venue for this tournament. Packard the other way, and now that eats up the third baseman, Rabin. And an awkward but effective enough slide by Zach Neto. That was a hard hit ball. Would have been a very good play from Rabin, but you know he's going to tell you he makes that play 9 times out of 10. We'll take another look.
And it was hit hard, just right off the left side. And the fielding woes continue for USC Upstate.
They are taking their time with whether to score that a hit or an error. And they'll say it is a single.
I don't think it could have gone wrong either way there, hit or error. So likely some lobbying from the Campbell faithful to try to give Packard another hit here, and he gets that.
It's been a tough luck appearance for Morgan. If USC Upstate comes back and win this game, they're going to think of the performance Morgan did. But he did not have kind glares to the left side of his infield as he is taken out of this game. Coming out of the bullpen for Upstate is Kevin Davis, the 6'9", 270 big old righty out of Illinois. Another product of Olney Central Community College. Things aren't great right now for Upstate, but again, much like the beginning of this game when Campbell was all over the Spartans, Upstate was able to limit the damage, give themselves an opportunity to come back, which they did. Here, it's been a nightmare fielding-wise for the left side of the infield for Upstate. But if they can keep this a 2-run or a 3-run game, they are very much where they not want to be, but very much able to climb up what wouldn't be a very big hill if they could limit the damage here.
Well, Kevin Davis coming in relief, he's 1 pitch away from getting out of this inning. A well-timed double play here gets you out of it. You're only down 2 runs. No Campbell runners would end up scoring this inning. You can take what momentum that Campbell may have after that home run in the 5th, and then having runners here on the 2nd, you can kind of, subdue it a little bit.
Back in 30 to tell you about the big reliever coming out of the pen for Upstate. Well, you can probably tell by his stature, this is the closer for USC Upstate. Kevin Davis has been sensational. His team leading 22 appearances, his numbers equally as effective as his stature. 1-1, a 1.73 ERA with 11 saves. He has been nearly unhittable. 26 innings, 13 hits. He's only given up 5 earned runs, and as Brantley said as we went to break, his job is to come in, get 2 outs, and keep this a 2-run game. Runners at the corners. First pitch misses wide.
You know, and there's no tomorrow. USC Upstate down to their 9 remaining outs, 7th, 8th, 9th inning. So got to go to your closer here, try to keep this a 2-run ball game. They've had the doubles today, just need to find a way to get them across.
Colin Wolfe, the preseason player of the year, ended up honorable mention. He doubled in the second run of this game for Campbell in the first. He grounded out to short, reached on an error by the shortstop, and later scored. Takes a big hack and comes up empty. It's 2-1, and you can see the velocity from Davis, as impressive as his stature.
He really does have such a large presence on the mound. The ball just effortlessly seems to be coming out at a high velocity. And that's what you want out of your closer. You talked about it, that sub-2 ERA, leads the team in appearances. I mean, this is what you look for. Bringing in your guy to keep you in this ball game.
He's a tight end frame at 6'9", 270, with a rocket for an arm. Took a little bit off of it. Wolfe didn't bite, and it's 3-1. There is 1 out. There is 2 on. Misses low, ball 4, bases full.
Look who is up, Chris.
Matthew Christian sent one over the wall just to the left of the 400-foot sign his last time up. That ball hasn't landed yet. And with the bases full, the man that hit 2 grand slams in a doubleheader is ready to unload. There is 1 out. There is no place to put him. Matthew Christian, 1 for 3. 16 home runs on the year to lead this Campbell team. And he goes up and gets one and grounds it off of the left field wall, and it'll come to rest. Upstate's head coach Mike McGuire, when he was talking to us earlier, he said, hey, when we're throwing strikes, when we're fielding the baseball, we are a tough team to beat. They are not fielding the baseball here in the middle innings. High for ball 2.
I mean, they've done pretty well, though, as it pertains to pitching. Yet they are in a bases loaded jam right now, already have given up 5 runs, but you mentioned it's the defensive miscues that have led to these runs.
1 error in this inning, but a misplay by the third baseman, counted as a hit, and rightfully so, have made this inning a mess. Power versus power. Christian comes up empty, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. 2 guys with a whole lot of muscle going after each other in a pivotal point in this game. An extra base hit here, and it's going to be awfully hard for Upstate to come back. Down 2 for the moment. Running out of outs as we're in the bottom of the 6th inning. The 2-2. Swung on and missed, strike 3. What a pitch by Kevin Davis. Goes right after Christian and wins.
Just a really good job there from Davis. He gets that pitch in underneath the hands of Christian, and I mean, that's a huge out. I mean, we talked about all day how every pitch seems to have high pressure, high leverage situation, but this is the biggest moment of the game right now for USC Upstate to try to keep this just a 2-run deficit.
Bases loaded, 2 out now. Up to Grant Harris. The right fielder hitting .284 on the season, 1 for 2 today. A single and a run scored in the second. He's been hit by a pitch and flown out. Way high for ball 1. Campbell has left 8 on base. Campbell today has hit the ball well, 8 hits, but they are hitting 2 for 13, just 154 in today's game with runners in scoring position. They have 2 of them in scoring position now with the sacks full. Harris takes high for ball 2. Third baseman Mason De La Cruz, 1 for 3 on the day, is on deck. Davis misses down low, 3-1.
Now I wonder here, Chris, 3-1, you're likely going to get a pitch right down the heart of the plate, nowhere to put Harris. Do you take here or do you give him the green light and just live with the result?
We'll see. With the bases full, Harris taking all the way, answers your question and runs up the count to 3-2. Davis has been very good. The only thing, his control sometimes gets the best of him. 18 walks in 26 innings coming in. He has 1 walk in this inning and a 3-2 count. Fouled away. Harris lives to see another day. A single and a run scored in the second. Hit by pitch in the third. Harris has 2 home runs on the season. The lead is 2 for now. Can Davis get him out of it? Does! Swung on and missed. He explodes at the Campbell dugout. Explodes to his dugout. And the big fella with the rocket right arm gets 2 strikeouts with the bases full. Upstate still in this game, down 2. The loser is out of the tournament, and most likely their season done as well. Campbell leads by 2 thanks to a 5th inning 2-run home run by Matthew Christian. That's part of our Ingles game summary. Brantley, we have had hits, we have had clutch relief pitching. We've seen a little bit of everything in this Classic.
We have, and in an elimination game like this, you see both starters knocked out early. Not necessarily because they weren't pitching good. They were doing okay, but in an elimination game, if you don't have your A stuff, you're going to get pulled from that game extremely early. That Christian 2-run home run, the difference in the ball game right now, but 19 left on base. Just amazing how both these teams have gotten big outs when needed to strand runners.
Harrington, one of the best starters in the Big South Conference. He is turning in a relief gem. He's pitched 2 1/3 innings in his first relief appearance from his college career. He's given up just 1 hit. He's walked 2. He's struck out 2. He's faced 10 batters. Pitch number 44 will be coming up. And he misses high with that pitch. He's facing the meat of this Upstate order. Upstate running out of outs down to their final 9. They got to get it going. Buckner, Rabin, and Matthews may give him a chance here. Buckner's 1 for 3. Takes a strike on the inside corner. He has been their best hitter this year, hitting .342 on the season. RBI double in the third. Campbell led 3-0. Upstate tied at 3-3 in the fourth. Then the infield started kicking it around. Campbell took advantage with a 2-run home run, Matthew Christian, after one of those errors. But with 4 errors in 2 innings and only 1 unearned run, I believe Upstate has dodged a big bullet.
Oh, they absolutely have. And that's another thing that we talked about. Find the good in every situation. Yeah, you made arguably 4 errors in the last 2 innings, one of which was ruled a base hit. Arguably, that was probably the right decision. I mean, it was smoke. But to only have given up 1 run, and although it come through the home run, is still very impressive that USC Upstate has been able to bend but not break.
And as we see here, both pitchers, they're not leaving it up for their defense anymore. Davis threw 2 smoking high fastballs that got Campbell's last 2 batters to leave the bases loaded. And Buckner, told you about he was the best hitter. He couldn't catch up to that heat from Harrington. Back-to-back strikeouts now from Harrington, straddling an inning. And he looks to be stronger as this game has gone along. One of the advantages, Brantley, about having a starter come in as a reliever, it's not just 2-3 innings and dones. They're used to going 6, 7, and 8.
Exactly right. And to be able to bring a starter of Harrington's capabilities in here gives you a sense of relief a little bit, knowing that this guy is going to give us some innings. He's not just in, like you said, for 1 or 2 innings. And you mentioned he has 4 pitches, but I've really seen a 5th pitch out of him today. He has a get-me-over breaking ball to try to get ahead in a count that we've seen a few times, and then he has the breaking ball for the strikeout. And to be able to throw different pitches, as you saw right there, 4 strikes, very, very confident in this freshman right-hander.
Raybun totally fooled by that pitch on the inside part of the plate at the knees. Make it 3 straight strikeouts. Wow.
That's just a beautiful piece of pitching right there from Harrington. Curveball in under the hands, that backdoor curveball just froze Raybun.
Harrington with 4 strikeouts in the outing, but 3 of them have come in the row. He got the final out of the 6th and making a bid to strike out the side here in the 7th. Jason Matthews, who has committed 3 errors at shortstop, is up. Can he make up for it with his bat? That bat that has so greatly improved. The count's 1-1. Matthews 1 for 2, hitting .346 on the season. No home runs on the year. Called strike 2.
And Thomas Harrington looks to be in a real groove right now.
He's throwing it like it's a dart. What does he have here for 1 and 2? Misses down low. Harrington this season as a starter, 5-2, under 3 ERA, 13 starts, 1 complete game, 64 innings, 21 earned, 23 walks, 67 strikeouts. That'll stay in the park to center field. Denning makes the catch. Harrington crafts a 1-2-3 7th. He's retired 6 straight. We go to the stretch. Campbell leading Upstate 5-3.
Whether it's the practice field or weight room, in class or on game day, we compete down here. We put in work day in and day out to take a step forward towards degrees, championships. Our goals, excellence on every level. 11 schools, more than 4,000 student athletes, one attitude. We are the Big South, where winners are made.
Upstate. It's where global commerce and nature's beauty live in harmony. It's It's where the next generation of leaders is rising. It's $500 million to our economy each and every year. Perhaps most important, it's where lifelong bonds are forged. It's our time. It's our place. It's our pride. It's our university.
We are not merely an institution of higher education. We are transforming lives and empowering students to become leaders.
Leaders in our communities,
in our state, and throughout the world.
Leaders in innovation.
Leaders in service to our neighbors.
Join our movement. Join our community. Join our mission. Lead with purpose. Lead with Campbell.
Middle of the 7th inning, and Upstate finds himself down 2. If Upstate ends up losing this game, their season being ended here after 2 games in the Big South Conference Tournament, it won't be due to their relief pitching. Both Morgan and Davis have come in and been sensational, kept their team in this game, a team that had their starter chased in the 2nd inning. Bullpen's been great today for the Spartans.
They really have. You mentioned the defensive miscues, but they've been getting strikeouts, getting weak contact. Short of the 2-run home run from Christian, you know, these Upstate relievers have really kept Campbell off balance.
Davis came in, gave up a walk to load the bases, and then back-to-back swinging strikeouts. Unbelievable. And they needed it, because you get the feeling the deficit is tough now. Add a couple more runs to that, nearly impossible. The loser of this game is out of the tournament, their season most likely over. The winner will go on to play at 7 o'clock tonight on ESPN Plus of the loser of game number 2 in the winner's bracket, Gardner Webb and PC. That game following at 3 o'clock, or more likely 50 minutes after the conclusion of this one.
De La Cruz clearly has not forgotten about Presbyterian. That line drive right through the Presbyterian players as they're walking from the cages back to their seats here on the stadium.
Called strike 3. How about Davis with his 3 consecutive strikeouts to match what Harrington has done? It was interesting there. I don't know if you could see it on the screen, but De La Cruz passing by Ty Babin, and Babin asking him, like you usually do when a reliever comes in, what did you see? I don't know what he said. What's the answer to that question? What do you see from Davis? How can you have success?
I mean, the only thing that I could say is get him early, because if he finds himself ahead in the count, he's going to go to that power slider and get a swing and a miss, or a swing looking like De La Cruz had right there.
Davis is a mountain of a man, 6'9", 270. A giant when you put him on top of that mound. And he's got the arm to back it up. He has been sensational this year. Trying to keep this a 2-run game. Ty Babin had a big double to lead off the 4th. That's been his only hit today, and his only hit in this tournament so far. Both of these teams have a mountain to climb. When you lose the first game of this 4-game tournament, any tournament in double elimination, it's going to take a lot. Including this game, you will have to win 4 to punch your ticket to the NCAA Regional. Babin punches his ticket to first base, and now it's back to the top of the lineup and Bryce Arnold. It has been done before. It has been done before by one of these 2 teams. Campbell in 2014 won 5 games in 4 days. Of course, it was a tournament where everybody in the Big South was invited back in 2014. On Tuesday of tournament week, they lost to Coastal. On Wednesday, I'm not making this up, there was a field condition delay that wiped out a whole day of games as the first pitch comes in with the strike, because even though it was 92 and sunny, there was a sprinkler malfunction overnight. A Durham Durham Bulls type situation, and that whole day was lost. Campbell came back and won on Thursday, Friday, 2 on Saturday, and 1 on Sunday to take the 2014 title and go to the NCAA tournament. Catch made, runner does not advance as Bryce Arnold flies out deep down the left field line. Campbell, who their head coach Justin Hare was an assistant on that team, knows that it can be done. Upstate would like to replicate that as well. It is not easy. Campbell got a break by having a whole day where they got to rest. They were able to bring some pitchers back in its extended format. It has been done before. It's not easy. You got to win game 1 before you win 4.
You do, and with the modified schedule this year, having to play those double headers, you know, both of these teams know what it's like to have to play 2 games at, you know, a minimum of 18 innings a day to try to get back into this weekend. But you have to think the winner of this game gonna have some confidence going into their second elimination game of the day, whereas the loser, obviously the season's over. But you have to feel confident for either one of these teams. If whoever wins, they're gonna have a good shot to get back into this thing.
The count's 0-2. Taken up high. That's a great point you make this year, especially when each weekend there was a regularly scheduled Saturday doubleheader. Both these teams know and have won 2 times in a day. Campbell did it 8 times this year, sweeping doubleheaders. They have to do it on back-to-back days. That has not been done before by either of these teams this year. The count's 2-2 to Connor Denny.
You know, if that being the case, it's never been done before. You know, both teams ask themselves, you know, why not us? Why not us? Why can't we be the first ones to do it?
They have the talents, they have the bats. As we have seen in this game. Boy, this has been a good one. It feels like Championship Saturday, it's Elimination Friday. And Campbell yearning for some insurance runs here in the bottom of the 7th. Hit well to right, not well enough. Davis shuts down Campbell for another inning, works around a 1-out walk. And as we go to the 8th, Upstate down to their final 6 outs. These two, it's coming up on ESPN Plus, 50 minutes after the end of this one. PC and Gardner-Webb in the winner's bracket. The 2 surprise winners from yesterday, surprises by everybody except in blue and red. One of those 2 teams will start tomorrow in the driver's seat, needing just 1 more win to punch their ticket to the NCAA tournament. They're getting social with the Big South on their phones, I'm sure, at Big South Game Day, following everything on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and more. Follow, watch, like, and share with the Big South Conference. With Brantley Hatrich, I'm Chris Amar. We've seen a heck of a game. Brantley gets to come back with our friend Evan Budrovich for game number 2. All right, long way to go in this one, but PC, Gardner-Webb, they both looked strong yesterday.
They did. Solid pitching performances. The bats came alive. Be curious to see how this one plays out with both those teams, but as you mentioned, the winner of that game sitting pretty heading into championship Saturday. Only would need to win one game, whereas whoever they face will have to win twice.
It's different in the Big South this year because of just 4 teams and because of everything everybody went through. It's back to a true double elimination tournament. So the team that wins Gardner-Webb PC would have to be beaten twice tomorrow. At noon, it's on ESPNU. If it goes to a final game, it'll be right back on ESPN Plus, scheduled for 4.
Well, you mentioned it earlier, Chris. You know, in a normal year, majority of the teams get invited to this tournament. So technically,
out into the gap in right. Boy, that's a good play in right field. Harris kept a would-be double to a single, and that's big when you bring the tying run up to the plate. So Robbie Magaha, a roll of the dice to start him today. He was 0 for 2 before that leadoff single here in the 8th. Boy, what faith does head coach Mike McGuire have in his left fielder? He puts him in, and he comes up aces.
I think by this time of the season, you know your team, you know what guys have the ability to come up clutch when it gets to crunch time. You know, Upstate's down to their last 2 outs right now, or I'm sorry, last 6 outs of potentially their season. Got the 8th and the 9th. So to leave Magaha in there after a struggling start to the game, 2 strikeouts in his previous 2 at-bats, says a lot about the coaching staff and their belief in the left fielder.
So leadoff runner on at first base. Can the bottom of the order make some magic happen? Gallagher up, takes it down low. Gallagher, the first baseman, at the dish, 0 for 3 today, 272 batting average on the season. Cameron McIntosh, who is doubled on deck. Garrison came in as a pinch hitter in the 3rd. The catcher has doubled.
I mean, the 2 of the 3 runs have come from the bottom 3rd of the lineup.
Right at Neto. Strong throw to 3rd, and it gets away from Christian, but bounces right back to him. That ball hit on the button by Jack Gallagher, but a great play made by the shortstop, who is right in its path.
That's a tough out for Jack Gallagher, as you mentioned. Hit it right on the screws, just 2 steps to the left for Neto. Trying to turn that double play.
Enter Cameron McIntosh. McIntosh does have a home run this year. He's the tying run. He doubled and scored a run in the 4th, walked his last time up. Misses low. Campbell's defense has not had to make the sensational, but I'll point out a play like that, 3 errors by the shortstop of USC Upstate. If that ball is mishandled by Neto, this could get really messy really fast. Campbell has been very solid at defense, have not made an error in this tournament. Strike on the inside corner.
Now, I will say this, it may be thinking too much into it, but you like the aggressiveness of Neto there, because if you look at the first base dugout, the throw's going to have to basically go 20 feet left for it to get into that dugout. By throwing it low like he did, the chances of it bouncing off the fencing as it did are significantly higher.
What a play, Christian! And what did I say about the defense? That time, it was the spectacular. Christian has the 2-run home run, that's the difference, and a double play that ends the threat in the 8th. My goodness, what a day for the Campbell first baseman. It's time now for our Hercules Tires Strong Moves of the game. We are adding an S because that's how good Matthew Christian has been. The first baseman, the senior that has been through so much for Campbell, so many injuries. He put one into orbit, breaking a 3-3 tie in the bottom of the fifth after an error allowed a Campbell base runner. And then with Upstate threatening just minutes ago, and the tying run at the plate, Christian robs extra bases and keeps this at bay with this snag, as he made a great play at first base. And it stays a 2-run Campbell advantage. That's our strong moves of the game, brought to you by our friends at Hercules Tires. Ride on our strength. And Campbell, if they get out of this one and live to play the 7 o'clock game tonight, they will ride on the strength of Matthew Christian.
Yeah, Matthew Christian has just been absolutely fantastic defensively right there, getting that double play. I mean, that gets by him. There's a good chance that Upstate is within one, and they've got a runner at least at second, possibly third.
They still could be running right now. I mean, that's one that kicks around the kind of awkward positioning of the wall and could be a lot of trouble. Off the bat, Zach Neto with a big first hit. You get the feeling that somebody's going to need an insurance policy here late, and Neto with a leadoff single trying to do just that here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Can Campbell cash in? The Camels have left 12 on base. 5 runs, 9 hits, 12 left on for Campbell. Errorless in today's game. Big Boppers get another chance. Packard drove in the first run of the game with a 2-out RBI single in the first. Campbell was up 3-0 after 2. Chased Upstate's starter. Upstate came back, chased Campbell's starter. It was 3-3 after 4. Christian with the 2-run home run in the 5th. We've seen some brilliant pitching in relief from both these teams. The loser of this game is out of the tournament. The winner still has a mountain of a hill to climb, but they will at least get past the first run.
This has to be unfamiliar territory for Spencer Packard today. His now 5th at bat. In his previous 4, he found himself in an 0-2 count real early, but way ahead now, 3-0 on Kevin Davis.
Packard with 2 singles on the day. His last one came with a little help from the Upstate third baseman. Rabin mishandled, which was a hard hit ball and rightfully called a hit, but a play that would have helped out Upstate. Slug to right, that's going to fall in. Rip didn't get a great read on it, but of course if he dives and that one goes past, Campbell certainly adds another run to their total. 2 up, 2 singles, nobody out. Davis is going to have to get himself out of self-made trouble here in the bottom of the 8th.
And no one currently throwing in the Upstate bullpen, so this is Kevin Davis's game to finish. With the score as it currently stands, would be his game to finish, because the top of the 9th would be the last opportunity.
Here is Colin Wolf, a 2-out RBI double in the first, reached on an error, scored in the 5th, he's walked. Wolf has been doing a little bit of everything. 281 average, but 385 on base percentage. Pinch runner comes in for Campbell. As Packard's day is done. Boston Harrell comes in to pinch run at first base. Harrell, a redshirt freshman out of Shelby. 2 on, nobody out. Wolf bunts and pops it up. Campbell has had 2 bunts get popped up. Garrison makes the catch as a catcher. Campbell today with runners in scoring position, hitting 2 for 15. Christian, we showed you the home run. Now here's that play that's equally as big. And Christian this time gets under it and pops it up to shallow center. Catch made. And Davis 1 out away from getting out of a big old mess here in the 8th and keeping his team down to their final 3 outs. We've teased it. We wanted you to wait for it, and we showed you this play. Worth the wait in my book.
I agree. Absolutely worth the play there, or worth the wait. That was a fantastic play.
And a great play made at second by McIntosh. Makes the snag. Davis gets himself out of trouble and gives his team a chance. Upstate with the season on the line. Down 2 when we come back on ESPN+.
Tasha, did you know Geico could save you hundreds on car insurance and a whole lot more? So what are you waiting for? Hip-hop group tag team to help you plan dessert?
French vanilla, rocky road, chocolate peanut butter cookie dough. Scoop, there it is. Scoop, there it is. Scoop, there it is. Scoop, there it is. Scoop, shakalaka, 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 shaka. Scoop, shakalaka, shakalaka, shakalaka.
Geico. Switch today and see all the ways you could save.
Whether it's the practice field or weight room, in class or on game day, we compete down here. We put in work, day in and day out, to take a step forward towards degrees, championships. Our goals? Excellence on every level. 11 schools, more than 4,000 student athletes, one attitude. We are the Big South, where winners are made.
Just keep your eye on the ball. At Ingalls, we know that big dreams don't always make it to the big leagues. But we also know that baseball, it's family. It's about building character. And as sure as there'll be some stumbles on that journey from first to home, we'll be right there, cheering you on. This is baseball, and this is who we are. Ingalls, we're with you every step of the way.
It's the last chance for USC Upstate, the number 2 seed in this tournament, on the ropes. Garrison, who had a home run in yesterday's game, led off with a double, scored a run in the 3rd. At the plate, Harrington, making his first relief appearance of the year, has been sensational. He's thrown 4 1/3 innings, given up just 2 hits. He struck out 4. A double and a single. Pitch number 67 coming up. Misses away to the USC Upstate catcher. Hennessy is on deck, the leadoff man for Upstate. Rip in the hole. And that double play was big because it could prevent Buckner, the best hitter and the DH on this Upstate team, from seeing the plate here late with the season on the line. Campbell's closer, Kevin Westlake, is warming up in the bullpen. Brantley, you think it's a good decision to stay with Harrington here on the mound?
I mean, he's thrown so well since coming in relief. I mean, obviously you go to your closer if this runner seems to finds his way there, but I wouldn't be surprised if Harrington gets one more now that the walk has been issued.
And a walk on 4 straight pitches. So now the tying run will come up to the plate. And it starts with the top of the lineup, Jack Hennessy. Hennessy has just 1 hit so far in this tournament, but it was a big one in the 4th. It tied the score at 3, an RBI single off his bat. He's 1 for 4 today.
I do think here, though, Chris, if Hennessy finds a way to reach base, other than the way of a sacrifice, walk, base hit, error, whatever it is, I think you might see Campbell go to their closer.
Hennessy hitting .343 on the season. That's in the regular season. He doesn't have a home run, 23 RBIs, but remember, we have a 17-mile-an-hour wind that's blowing straight out now. This is a big ballpark. You usually need some wind behind it to get it out of here. And that wind is there here in the ninth. Not enough on this. As the center fielder, Dinning, comes over to make a catch. It also makes any ball hit in the air an adventure. Campbell does not have an error yet in this tournament. And they are 2 outs away from advancing to the 7 o'clock game tonight, which will be another elimination game on ESPN+. The loser of PC and Gardner-Webb, coming up 50 minutes at the conclusion of this one, will be the opponent. Will it be Campbell or Upstate? Here's Julian Ripp. Checks his swing, takes a strike. Ripp is 0 for 2, but has walked twice and scored a run. One of just 3 in the Upstate lineup without a hit today.
I mean, so much real estate on that right side. If Ripp can just find a way just to push it over towards second base, he could be on.
Campbell playing with a shift. Wolf, the second baseman, nearly behind the bag. And there's that hole on the right side. That's just one of those, if you're in the Upstate dugout, you say wait on it and just push it out to the right side.
You know, they tell you not to aim the bat, to swing the bat. In that case, I am actively aiming my bat to push it towards second base. I don't care if I square it up or put it on, get jammed off the end of the bat, whatever. As long as I can put it towards second base, chances of me getting on are pretty good.
Easy for us to say. We're not looking at a 93-mile-an-hour fastball coming off the hand of Harrington.
You're right, that does complicate things.
He pulls it. And playing deep in left is Harrell. Inserted as a defensive replacement. That ball drops, and now the lead run comes up to the plate in the form of Devin Buckner, the best hitter on this team, according to his head coach, Mike McGuire. An RBI double in the third. He has struck out twice and grounded out to short. Buckner this season with 3 home runs and a team-leading 46 RBI in the regular season.
And you see Campbell playing no doubles defense out there in the outfield, which is why that ball likely fell in for a single for USC Upstate.
Buck has 3 hits in this tournament. Campbell's defense playing straight up. A double play, and this game is over, and so is Upstate's season. Buckner has hit into a team-leading 8 double plays this year. And it's another one, and Campbell advances. Buckner hit it well, but the Campbell defense backing up the pitching staff today. No errors so far, and a couple of big double plays down the stretch. Wow, Campbell advances to play at 7 tonight with a 5-3 victory.
Just spectacular defensive plays by Campbell to end the 8th, and then the ball game, the double play by Christian over at first, and then Wolf playing perfect position, right? I mean, it's an absolute perfect position. Shaded over up the middle, fields it, steps on the bag, and Campbell feeling real good right now after knocking off the number 2 seed USC Upstate.
Matthew Christian with the big hit And a couple of big double plays, and Brantley real quick. It seems like the momentum back in the corner of Campbell.
Yeah, the 1 seed, you knew they were going to fight hard, and they're going to be a tough out for whoever they play, Gardner-Webb or Presbyterian. Be excited to see who Campbell gets at 7 o'clock.
Upstate's sensational record-setting season is over. There's going to be a lot of good to come out of it. It's going to sting for a while. Campbell advances to the 7 o'clock game. Their season will be on the line later tonight. Final score 5-3 for Brantley Hatridge. I'm Chris Haymeyer. Watch this game on the ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN. Next game coming up in 50 minutes.